Welcome to your warm-up podcast. Complete absence of any football action, really, but it didn't stop the fun on the show. In fact, we managed to fill 3 hours.
We did half an hour on Animal House.
We'll do more tomorrow. We've got another show. We're going to do more tomorrow.
Step Brothers and Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
They don't get that sort of word of mouth appreciation.
No, they really don't.
And they're both brilliant.
No, I was watching. You watch it for. You know, when Chaz, Will Ferrell appears at the end of Wedding Crashers. For me, that's like Colonel Kurtz appearing at the end of Apocalypse Now.
He's hanging out at funerals.
No,
isn't
he's
he?
hanging out at funerals. Yeah, and he goes, "Mom, you got a meatloaf?"
Yeah.
You want the meatloaf? Anyway, listen, here's the podcast. It's not as funny as any of those things, but here's the podcast, and then James is going to tell you, as soon as you've heard it, James has got something very interesting to tell you when we come out of it. Back in a second.
Yeah, could I speak to Sir Alex Ferguson, please? The result is all wrong. England were absolutely knackered.
Good morning, welcome to the World Cup warm-up with me, Johnny Vaughan. Sorry, quite confusing. I just got handed a piece of paper by Steve, our over-enthusiastic producer. Very keen today. And I've just been given this beat. He says, "Here you go, Vaughan, here's the show." I've just grabbed it. He says, "Good morning, I'm Mike Graham. You're listening to Talk Sport." Extra time. Keep me entertained throughout the morning.
We'll be across that all day.
Yeah, we'll be talking to Luke Shaw. What else has Mike got? That's it, 20 sheets of paper saying exactly the same thing. Someone's just gone to a photocopy and saying, right, give him 20 Mike Graham intros. Yeah,
that's like JD Sports.
He can't do anything without a script. There we go. Why is it like JD Sports? You know, I'm obsessed with them.
Because they don't have a great range necessarily of trainers, so they just put 50 of the same trainer up a whole wall.
No, can I tell you the other thing about JD?
They have great stuff.
No, they do, yeah.
Go to JD Sports. I went to JD Sports. This is no word of a lie. I just said, "Can you measure my son's feet?" And he goes, "No, we don't do that. We don't do it. There's no facilities."
For measuring feet?
Facilities for measuring feet. They've got sort of like a carpet where you've got rough foot sizes you can put in. He says, "We don't do it." He says, "Listen, right, we want to do right, listen. Go down to like a Foot Locker, yeah? You get like the feet measured there, they got a foot measure, then just come back." I said, "What? Well, that's company policy, is it?" In a shoe shop. You
Did that come down as a memo?
Yeah, memo departments. If anyone does ask questions about children's foot size, doesn't know it,
send them to Foot Locker.
Send them around a Foot Locker. Literally 10 yards away, go up. Because then you just come back, you get a bit of selection around. Listen, right, what are you saying? Right.
He also Chris Eubank was working there, was he?
Hang on, you've gone a bit of inner city Glen then.
I went like, did I go a bit inner city Glen?
Yeah, go on, do it again.
Foot Locker will bring it to fruitation.
The players themselves have got to get down to Foot Locker.
Did you see Glenn?
Did you see Glenn's sunglasses?
He looked like Flash Gordon. His hair's gone blonde. He was really tanned.
Yeah, but the whole
They should bring him back.
Glen in Rio range.
Oh, Glen in Rio. Oh, it's a great range name.
That's great.
Glen in Rio.
They should bring him back as England coach and bring Brian Blessed in as his assistant.
He decided to sit on the beach, unlike all the others. No. Glenn went for the big sunglasses.
Yeah, he did.
So he looked like an old gangster now living in Rio, trying to hide it.
With a yellow shirt.
Yeah. Not being able to go home, being like the last of the train robbers. Caught out there, the robbers. Glenn Idle out there. Let me tell you, if I was allowed back in Britain, I'd just flip between here and Marbella now. You just have those great big... Anyway, welcome to the warm-up. On the day when Uruguayan boss Oscar Tabarez insists that Suarez is banned as a result of pressure from English-speaking journalists.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, what it was. Uruguay's World Cup campaign continues today. They take on, hey, toda Colombia, man. Follow now, my brother Angel Falanes kid. Anyway, they got the Colombians. Actually, I was thinking if there was a Colombian player, they could use Hector Gonzalez's line, my favourite line in all of Scarface. Which is when he pulls out the chainsaw before he takes the bloke apart. And Hector Gonzalez, the Colombian lunatic, in that hotel.
Terrifying, isn't he?
The weird sort of...
The woman with the machine gun on the bed.
She's terrifying. I don't know where she's from. I don't know what country that even is, where they look like that, but just keep me away from there.
Is this the scene when they go, if you're not fresh, is it when they go up into the flat?
Yeah, yes. He goes, "You got the money?" He goes, "Close by." "You got the ale?" Crossbar. Do you want to start again? And he just goes,
We start again.
I'll come back. We start again. And he goes, but Hector Gonzalez, it's just the look of joy in his face. He's got a chainsaw. It's a really serious thing. He just looks.
He's really happy.
He's really happy.
It's Hector Gonzalez is his mate. Is he
No,
number
Hector
two?
Gonzalez, he's the Colombian that kills the bloke.
Oh, right, okay.
When Tony Montana won't tell him where the money is. And he just goes, and Hector Gonzalez is just buzzing with the chainsaw. He looks at Tony and just goes, now they leg, huh? Like he's the happiest man alive.
Like he's carving a Christmas turkey, yeah.
Now they leg, huh? Anyway,
Yeah, that's what Gus says to his players
exactly right.
if they don't...
exactly right. But he does. But anyway, he doesn't. But Tony Montana doesn't like Colombians. That's the main point of that one. I don't know what's got to do with this.
All your latest World Cup insights.
So I'm saying tonight, Tony Montana will certainly be back in Uruguay, unless I don't like Uruguay, man. But they're kicking off the knockout phase with their game against Chile. That's host Brazil. Both those matches live on TalkSport
For free.
For free, absolutely free as well. Thank you very much. Very good point, Gavin. Warming up alongside me, I just said he made a very good point, and by gosh, he did. The whistleblower and maestro, the woodman Gavin Woods.
Yeah, the conductor, the maestro.
The maestro.
I always think when you call him...
Well, I haven't introduced you.
Introduce me.
Go on.
James Mansell.
Oh, I'm here. James Brown's here. But listen, when you call Gavin the whistleblower, it always makes you think he's like telling tales on us.
Yeah. Yeah, the whistleblower, exactly right.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah. And Gavin tells me something about you.
No.
A whistle-happy ref.
But who told the boss that?
It's a happy...
Ref should whistle.
Yeah, they should just whistle like that.
Just like...
Okay, here's a few points. If you've been listening to how many hours this week of TalkSport?
168 hours
168 hours
Of World Cup? Or
of live commentary.
How do you know that?
Because
It's 7 days, 24 hours.
Because he knew I was going to make this point. Can I just say, after all that time, basically, let me summarise. If you've missed the last 168 hours of TalkSport, yeah, Wayne maybe should have played in the hole, maybe not.
He's got to start on the left.
He has got. If he starts Rooney there, how can we hope to win? Thinking, yeah, that's it. That's why I would have done it. All it would have meant if literally Wayne had moved 4 yards there,
Yes.
we'd have cracked it.
He'd have been world class
We'd have
suddenly.
been world class. Suddenly, we'd have been world class. I tell you exactly what he should have done. He should have put Rooney in the middle, not on the side. He was Sturridge. He should have gone out there.
Disgraceful.
He should not have put. I mean, Leighton Baines is no way. Ashley Cole should have gone all the way there. I mean, playing on left, what was he thinking about?
So, in other words, you're saying we know exactly what to do for the next competitive
That's
match.
exactly what we know what to do. Okay, all we've got to think with England, right, is everything you've done so far is wrong. Yeah, that's all we know. Is Roy Hodgson's to the centre. Everything's wrong. It's wrong. Roy Hodgson, all his faith in acclimatisation, getting the players together. Everything's wrong. It's wrong. Whatever we're doing now is wrong because it's not working. What we're doing is picking the best England players from the sort of top Premiership clubs.
But we're not,
but that doesn't mean that they can play together. Do you know what they need to buy? Do you know what those lads need? They don't need a training ground. They don't need a training ground. They just need a pub. They need a pub. We need to get back to days and the players just got to smash together.
Well, this is just what happens
Jack
in Mike
Charlton.
Bassett.
I know, but just 11 mates just
Jack,
getting...
Jack Charlton had a beer keg in his room. And
Yes.
he used to
When you
bring-
were at the confirmation last week, Phil Babkevin, and he told us that when he was on international duty at the 1994 World Cup, Jack Charlton had a cask, was it a keg?
A keg.
Yeah.
Of Guinness.
in his room, and he would call
And he
people
would
in.
order the players in for a drink with him. He had his own little pub.
Incidentally, on the website, 100 things that barmen in England find irritating. The number one thing they find irritating is people who, if they're ordering Guinness, don't do it first in their order.
Oh, yeah, because then they can't deliver the pint.
Oh, gosh, Guinness now affects the timing.
Could have told me.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Wouldn't it just make sense?
I'll bring it
So I'm
over
just
to
saying,
you.
if you are ordering big rounds, just remember, get your Guinnesses in first.
Wouldn't it make more sense just to have a permanent Guinness being poured?
Yes.
So they just sort of...
That's
when
what they're... I
when
think-
you go into Greg's, they've
Yeah.
got the sausage rolls ready.
No, don't get me going. Don't fire me up. You're just waving. I know what you're doing.
I'm just Gregging the water.
The carrot of
I'm just
cakery.
throwing it out there.
The old carrot cake. Come on. You know, once you get me talking about Greg's, there's no return.
We might get some sausage rolls if we keep talking about
We
Greg's.
might do, yeah. Well, if their PR people are any good, as soon as you mentioned it, we now have them down here. I bet Dunn's, that other lot that make those delicious donuts, I bet as soon as we mention them, they'll definitely get back them down here.
I think Ferrari are a great company.
They're a great car, they're a great company. And even they delivered some of those lovely slippers they're doing now.
I went to Quid.
Did you?
Yeah, he's a really rich-looking guy. He had the tan trousers and the yellow cardigan.
Yeah.
The works.
Did he? Did you have to
Yeah,
go for the
he
yellow
did.
cardigan?
He had the yellow
You
cardigan.
see, that's my new thing, yellow knitwear. It's the way forward.
It just makes you look rich.
It's Eric Stratton in Animal House. Ever since you see him bust that canary yellow jumper, well, he just gets him out of trouble in the nick of time. You just think,
which woman do you fancy most in Animal House?
Which woman?
Which woman? The woman that he gets in the back of the car.
Oh, come on, Mandy Pepperidge. Everyone knows those.
Oh, the one that Bluto's looking through the window at.
Babs Jansen. Well, it depends. I mean, do you know, I've debated this for so many hours, I can't get into it now. But if you ask for Babs Jansen when you go to Universal Studios and you go for the tour of Universal Studios in America, and you ask for Babs Jansen, you get a free tour.
Is that right?
Yeah, still today. Yeah, if you mention, I say I want the tour from Babs Jansen,
okay.
or. Yeah, because Mandy Pepperidge goes to be the senator's. Actually, Mandy's quite hot, isn't she? She's the one that Eric. Sorry, let's not talk about animals.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I used to watch it forever.
Nobody. I can watch it forever as well. Mandy Pepperidge and Bab Jansen. Hi, Ken. Hi, Larry. Welcome to Omega House.
We've got a Dean Werner at college.
Yeah, that's funny. My husband. Yeah, right. Okay, Durham.
I told you about how they changed the songs on it. Sorry, not to.
Yes, no, they have.
They showed it on Sky, and they haven't been able to renew the license for the classic songs.
Yes, right.
So they've replaced them, and they're not even songs you know.
No, they haven't. Like for instance, you haven't got the best things in life are free as the keg comes out through the window. Also during the food fight, they haven't got Let's Dance by Chris Montez.
It's Louis. The best. It's one of those films. It's one of those films where music is as part of the film as anything.
Important. God, I'm really glad. I didn't know.
It really annoyed me when I saw it.
This was going to happen. I didn't know we were going to
It really annoyed me. It's like if you rewatch Apocalypse Now, Dennis Hopper's not in it.
Yeah,
that's how FIFA should have announced.
They replaced him with Eric Sykes.
Or instead of the end by the Doors, they've got I don't know that song.
Buddy and Spiral Carpet.
Saturday
not
night,
to knock them, but
Saturday night dance. I like the way you move. Tell me, baby,
that's how
Wigfield.
That's how FIFA should have announced Luis Suarez's band. They should have just sung, Louis, you gotta go.
That's it.
We should have that out of the hour.
Yeah, well, Sepp Blatter was a wedding singer.
Should we have the songs of Animal House out of the hours?
Big Bladder. Yeah, let's do that. Because then we can get Otis Day and the Nights when they go to. Do you know that was for sale, don't you? The Dexter Late Club, where they go out for the
Otis
evening.
Day and the Nights.
Yeah, Otis Day. Who love me? Otis Day and the Nights.
Otis, my man!
That's what he does, and Otis just stops. He goes, Otis, my man! And Otis just looks at him like, what?
Like he doesn't know him, which he doesn't.
And then he just hits that lovely note and he just goes, who love me? And it's just, anyway, let's...
What about Boone's girlfriend?
Katie, downstairs, about something. She's great, isn't she? How much do you want to discuss Animal House? I can do it all morning.
We can just keep going because there's loads of... We've got to go a break, but there's loads of people out there who love it. There is no Saturday morning film discussion show.
Let's get Needham... No, you're absolutely right, there isn't. There's no
We should just do this every week. Film of the week.
Greg, what is the worst fraternity on campus? A whole load of fizzies in the school swim
we're
meet.
on double secret probation because of the amount of dumping.
Double secret probation, sir. There's a little-known codicil in the Faber College Constitution. Listen, it's 11:16. We're back in 1 second. We will try not to talk Animal House. We will.
Only on this show can you do that.
You guys playing cards?
Oh, that's a great line.
Let's go.
Get involved by calling the warm-up with Johnny Vaughan on 08717 223344 or email us via talksport.com. You can tweet us at TS Warmup or text us at 81089. 50p plus normal sending charges apply.
Hello. 11:20, not the version from Animal House, incidentally, that was we were talking about earlier. That's the Kingsman's version. And let's just fade that down. There should be that. Oh, no, that's at the initiation party, isn't it? It's the big party scene. It's the big party. No, this is not the right soundtrack thing. It's not. I can tell the difference. I know that's no. I know that's a weird.
You want the band at the end.
You want the band at the end. Yeah. Okay. Let's not talk about Animal House.
Also, Naked Gun. They have it at the end of Naked Gun.
I know, but we should stop arguing about Animal House, things like that, because you just get me. I could do the whole film. I can sit here and do the whole lot.
What a way to spend the morning making money.
Really? Well, just sit here going, hi Kent, hi Larry, welcome to Omega House. A wimp and a blimp.
Jugdish,
Sydney, Jugdish, Mohammed, and Clayton.
Come on.
There's Terry Arbuck, captain of the swim team. There are a lot of great guys. There are a lot of great guys here, so don't feel you have to meet everybody. He just leads him off, doesn't he? OK, the World Cup, what I want to just talk about very briefly is, it was Germany, USA, and the permutations in that group would just drive you crazy. Everyone was like, now if Ghana score then 2 and Portugal don't, then it means the USA have not got the difference against them. If Germany's got... You just thinking, guys, you're going mad. But you saw that I think the USA had done a deal with the Germans.
For as a draw?
With Klinsmann. For the draw, no matter what happened. And then the Germans scored. To show Klinsmann he had perhaps forgotten what it is to be German.
You have become decadent over there in California, Herr
You have
Klinsmann.
forgotten, just because we signed an alliance doesn't mean... And then Klinsmann gets back to his seat thinking, I can't believe they scored! And there's a note there going, as of 11:45, we are at war. Just something really sneaky.
It didn't look right after it. When he was going around shaking hands and hugging all the players.
I know, Klinsmann looked like... They said they wouldn't score. You forget that we too are German, Jürgen.
Just for men hero Joachim Low ruining it for him.
Yeah. They had a good name on last night. I noticed they changed in the South Korean, not last night, night before, in the South Korean lineup. They changed. They have the 2 different title pages. And they flashed to the one that obviously they get in South Korea, the list of players. And I think it was a left back who was called... His name down there as it was Tu Lee or something. It said no, it's Young Lee.
Yeah,
was his name? Young Lee. But if you looked on the other one that there, his first name was Bum Young. It was Bum Young Lee. And I'm thinking,
he's the son of Old Bum.
I don't know, but I'm thinking, why is everyone keeping a straight face round this? How can a commentator be looking like going, I don't see what's funny. Bum Young Lee there getting the ball. What's funny about that? No joke at all. I'm going to keep saying Bum Young. Doesn't matter. I'm thinking, come on, as a commentator, he must have been like... straight over to Bum Young Lee. All right, Lee Clark's on the line. So is that just me being really immature at home?
No, I think everyone would have thought like that.
Fair enough. Is there an age when you're allowed to grow out of that?
No.
Might not have been the best time to say it. It was about to talk to Lee Clark.
What? What's he got to do with Bum Young Lee?
He's a notorious
Lee. God, I got you.
Lee.
Sorry, God, there's a connection here.
He's a top fella.
Here's a Lee who has no connection to that Korean player, Bum Young Lee. He is Lee Clark.
It's just gone lunar past monsoon on the banks of the River Nile. Here comes the boat, only half afloat. Osman grins a toothless smile. Only just one more to this desolate shore. Last boat along
11:24, right here on TalkSport. This is your warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan, joined as ever by Gavin the Woodman Woods, James Brown, and now we've had Niall Quinn. That was our start on the River Nile. Richard Ord, Gary Hours, Gary Bennett, Dave Bennett. Well, Max, Mickey Ginn, Ian Benjamin, Peter Gleesier, John Budgie Burridge, Mickey Quinn, superb studio guest. Joe Alon, Billy Whitehurst, very violent. Keith Edwards, David Hurst, John Beresford, Rob Lee, Steve Harper. Would you please welcome the latest stop on the River Nile, Lee Clark. Morning, Lee.
Morning, guys. Good job I'm not offended by having a go at the name Lee, yeah?
No, it's a really good job. I don't know if you caught that last night, but they said it was Yong Lee, spelt Y-O-N-G, and then Lee. And they went to some sort of alternative graphics on the screen, and then the guy's name was clearly Bum Young Lee. Yeah.
Not a nice one for the commentator, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. I mean, how would you have dealt with that one?
Start with an easy one.
yeah. I'd have just gone with Bum Young John.
Throw him under a bus, Johnny.
What would you have gone with there, Lee? Right. Ridiculous first questions to guess. Right, what was your traditional pre-match warm-up, Lee?
Oh, well, varied. Just relaxed, really. Cup of tea, bar of chocolate. Just nice and calm before the game, and
I've got to tell you,
that was once I was at the stadium, so it was just to be nice and calm.
Yeah, what you're describing there is 11 o'clock in a rest home.
Yeah, well, obviously, my different managers used to get frustrated by us at times, thinking, you're not going to go out and have a warm-up, like.
Well, he just thought him saying, I know you're not going to gun out and have a warm-up, like, but as he's looking at the players, he must have thought, what have I got here? I've got a lot of people looking out the window, just dunking biscuits,
having a marathon,
and just staring,
lovely, man.
little bar of chocolate, and
lovely,
and little tartan rugs. How are the legs?
But has it got on later, like in my career, and the sports science come into it, and that it was
okay.
They were all different kinds, you know.
So back then, sports science didn't really affect you, really.
No, I was a bit of both, Johnny. To be fair, the start obviously was a little bit old school, playing alongside the likes of your own Mickey Quinn, etc.
Oh,
so
don't talk to me about Mickey Quinn.
I was sitting having a cup of tea and a bar of chocolate, and he was having a pint of lager and a pork pie.
I bet he was.
It's much the same here now.
I bet he was. Well, probably nervous.
Don't tell him I said that.
Well, probably looking.
He'll have heard it, Lee.
Seriously.
I used to clean Quinny's boots as a young apprentice.
And he means that literally, all right? Because it sounds ambiguous.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I was his apprentice, and he was obviously the main man when he come to us.
Did he tip you well at Christmas?
Yeah,
well, I've already told the story to some people on it. When I spoke to Quinny, he was sponsored by a sportswear firm, and rather than give us a few quid, he gave us a T-shirt for Christmas. I'd chained him 25 goals up till Christmas, and when I put this T-shirt on, well, it just doubled up as a bed cover, so I just used it to sleep in.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for that. Well, a king-size double bed. It
was a king-size, the biggest you can get.
Just perfect.
So instead of a few quid, I got a T-shirt.
Nice.
Funnily, there's a letter about well, I'll just read you this letter that said, "Dear Deirdre," today in the Sun. You might want to comment. Dear Deirdre, my boyfriend says that if I have his baby, I'll probably end up a single mum. My boyfriend was supportive at first, but we looked into the financial side, and now he's done a complete turnaround. Can I just say to that woman, Mickey Quinn is in talks at the moment. There might be a bit more cash than you think. He's actually a bit more popular. So that might be all right for you there, love. Mickey might do a U-turn.
Lee, can I ask you, when you mentioned your career was sort of old school, new school on the sports science, do you think that the cup of tea and a chocolate bar was better or worse than what they have now?
No, it didn't affect us, to be honest. I think people who played alongside us will say, big part of my game was my fitness side of it. But the sports science part, I mean, I obviously experienced playing under a foreign manager at Fulham and Johnny Vaughan, and that was all fitness, and that was the fittest I'd been in my career. So.
Is that a nightmare when you go from a club which has got, let's just say, a very relaxed attitude to fitness?
A vending machine.
To fitness, yeah, they've basically got a vending machine and a deck chair.
What, as a sports science department?
Yeah. Where's the sports science department? It's just by the vending machine.
In the
corridor. There's a hot seat. There's one of them. There's one of those armchairs that vibrates. Anyway, and suddenly you go to a manager where they're all kind of all about fitness and complex carbohydrates.
No, I just think it's different ideas, and that's not just saying at the start when I said I had a cup. I still went out and had a warm up. It was just obviously that was my way of relaxing before the game. I've been in dressing rooms where lads have totally pumped up at 1 o'clock and we're not kicking off till 3, and by the time 3 o'clock comes, they're absolutely
but what are they pumped up
on the floor, shattered.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fair enough. We're going to come back and talk to you in just 1 second. We've got to take a break now. It's 11:30. Would you stay for a couple of seconds? Because I've got loads more questions to ask you. Is that all right, Lee?
No problem.
Put the kettle on and unwrap a bar.
I don't run about as much now. I can't do that.
Do you know what, though, I was thinking, Lee, is that what I was saying earlier, whatever England are doing now, I don't really want to talk about football too much because it's so dull, as Gordon Strachan's been proving. And I didn't really want to discuss too much football, but I suddenly thought, you know what? Whatever we're doing now, it's failing. Maybe go back to the old ways. Maybe it would put the opposition off if the England side before a game was just dunking a load of digestives into cup of teas and just watching them from the sidelines, not really limbering up.
Having a nip of brandy.
Just actually seeing them pass down a little cheeky quarter bottle.
That's who should be the manager in England. Dave Bennett.
Dave Bennett.
A big bath.
And then a bit of Maxi Priest.
And there was some rum.
Just a big bath and some Maxi.
Some Lovers Rock.
Yeah, but you don't want the England players going out there all sexual. Listen, it's 11:31. We're going to come back with more Lee Clark in a second. I've got news on FIFA. I've got news on Strachan. Oh, incidentally, everybody, just something for you to contemplate. Mexican handbags. We're back today with this. This is only after what I call the old Belgian face paint. I don't know if anyone saw the greatest ever footage during the week of that Belgian girl fan.
Well, you think there's a full-time cameraman whose job it is just to find good-looking women in the crowd?
But well, it was an example of the old Belgian face paint. That's a new one for the Mexican lexicon. That woman they choose in the crowd, who is ridiculously beautiful compared to every other 98,000 people in the stadium, to make it look like, yeah, there was loads of babes there. Yeah, it was a really feminine day out down there.
It's just a moon of past monsoon on the banks of the River Nile.
11:35. We're just discussing another measure that our little sports panel in here would like to do. We're going to ban all pre-match handshakes and all that.
Yeah, the line up and the
friendly.
handshake.
Just get rid of it.
And you don't get to see the players boinging and springing
just
out
all
the
that
tunnel.
the handshakes. Everyone, because obviously it's an English game, to remind everyone before every game, everyone should be always stood for a chorus of Abide With Me. Always before every game, it should be football's anthem, and always there should be a representative. And do you know who should give out the World Cup? Because it's our rules. Always, traditionally, the World Cup, just to really rain on Sepp Blatter's parade, yeah? Always, the person who gives out the World Cup is the wife of the head of the Welsh FA. Or his little fancy piece.
As a point of order.
Yeah, or his little fancy piece. Today's his sexy, see? And the Welsh says, but his sexy along. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where it comes from sometimes. We've still got Lee Clark on the line. Lee Clark, you're right.
Yes, good, thanks.
What do you think of that, Lee, of my suggestion there? About what I was not talking about the Welsh FA's head's wife giving away the World Cup, but just that idea generally of...
The handshakes and
the handshakes and things, in fact, just getting rid of them all at the start. Just play the game.
Get on with it, yeah.
100%. Get out there, play the game, kick your opponent and shake him by the hand.
Yes, exactly
Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah, you should do it. Okay, there's touching
Yeah,
gloves.
you probably get a FA reprimand for that now.
Oh, no, it's just...
Yeah, I better be careful what I'm saying. I might get banned from the dugout.
You don't have to worry about it here, mate. Kick football out of football. That's our campaign here. I once met the kick racism out of football mob years ago. They came down the Big Breakfast. Actually, no, I won't. It was a bit controversial. But let me just tell you here, in this panel... why are you all looking at me like, shut up, Johnny, I can handle it.
I want to ask Lee something about... Lee, you mentioned playing for Jean Tigana earlier.
Yeah.
That was when Mohamed El Fayed first... Was it the early years of his ownership of Fulham? Did he...
I think he'd been there maybe about four years or something. He got them from League Two, League One, then into the Championship.
With Keegan and Mickey Adams. Is it true he used to send...
Have you got a question written down on a piece of paper?
He sent what?
Did he used to send Harrods hampers to the players for lunch?
Oh, he looked after her in many different ways, yeah. I mean...
Just back off a second. Lee, wait a second, working James, Gav, back off a second. Because I might be able to get something out of this. Okay.
No.
So what sort of other things did
there
we
was
do?
good results, you know. That he obviously took me to the corner shop and we got a bag of sweets or something, you know.
Uh-huh. And how did that make you feel?
Very happy.
Wait, Gav, I'm on this. And would he often lay on other sort of gifts which perhaps morally you were trapped by?
You what, sorry? No. Never felt trapped by, no.
What sort of temptations did you have there, Lee? What sort of temptations did you face? I've got Lee on line one. He's talking about some of the incentives his boss used to give to him, perhaps unfair things you tried to do.
I'll keep that one for the book, Johnny, I think.
But did he ever put you in those situations, Lee, where there was just you and maybe women?
Compromise?
Did he let you just have what you want from Harrods?
No, not really. I couldn't go in and get the most expensive item there free of charge. No, that was never the case.
You couldn't walk past the sweets straight to the watch department?
yeah, just pick up a few Rolexes or something, yeah.
And how did you
feel? That would have been great, wouldn't it?
And how did you feel about that, Lee?
Can I ask you a player? We've never asked... we'd ask you a question. What was the worst player who's ever played for you?
Yeah.
We've never asked a manager that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You can't make him say
that.
That
can't
That's
go.
cruel. You're such a cruel man, James.
You crossed the lane there. You crossed the lane.
There's a section of the show...
Quinny, then, is it?
Because what you'll do, you'll open the can of worms. You'll get all the players who played for us and say, that fella was the worst manager I've ever played for.
He's got players coming back for pre-season. He can't say
He's not going to say no. Okay, who's the best player?
Paul Caddis, obviously.
A lot of people we've had on the show just straight away just said Lee Dixon.
Well, who's the best Lee?
Bum Young Lee, wasn't it? Bum Young Lee. He was
Bum Young Lee Dixon, terrible player.
Bum Young Lee.
Lee, how well did you sleep when Paul Caddis scored that goal that night?
very well. Very well.
It must have been a
Totally
drained.
relief.
Relief.
You know, get a bit serious now. I was totally drained, to be honest, mentally and, you know, psychologically, physically. I went out for a meal with the family, but didn't particularly last too long. It was just, you know, there'd been a lot of tension, and it was out of our own hands, really, in the last game, because we were...
I thought for a second there, Lee, you were talking about my own life. I was thinking, Christ, I think, has he been spying through my curtains at night? You just got pretty exact...
Didn't I? Fulham days there. Sorry, Johnny.
Just don't do that again. Sometimes you sort of segue off, you say, I was abjectly miserable. I was sitting there. It was terrible. I felt sick. Misery of the family didn't distract us. I'm just miserable. I just felt like just literally born in a house doing.
Lee, when you were at Huddersfield, you had Terry McDermott with you, didn't you?
Yes.
And what's he like? Because there's some classic stories about him as a player and with Keegan and that.
Terry Mac.
Yeah, obviously, you know, lots of experience, both as a player and a coach, but, you know, very good in the dressing room with the players in terms of...
What do you mean by that?
Being positive. Johnny, always taking this slant. I'm getting a bit concerned.
No, I'm just saying. Concerned. I'm just getting a little bit concerned.
Because Keegan used to say that he had Terry Mack with him for morale.
I know, but just
making the players feel
I
great.
just think it's a bit odd when someone says that another man is very good in the changing room. It's just, I don't know. He says, "What's he like?" He goes, "I tell you what, John, he's very good in the changing room. You get Terry Mack in the right mood in the changing room. Oh, my God. Let me tell you.
That's his stage.
You can see why he's got that muzzer. He's a very sensuous man." Right, let's move on.
Can I ask you a question? Did he play? Did he? Because he was a great player.
He was good in the dressing room.
When you were training, would Terry Mack join in the games?
Not much. He'd join in the head tennis and just knock it past him. And obviously, because he'd been a brilliant player, hadn't he? What he'd done in the game.
Do you know, from now on, with Terry Mack, when I look at him, I'm not going to think great player. I'm thinking, he was tremendous in the dressing room. He might be good on the pitch, but you get him in the changing room. Different man. Right, listen, Lee, it's been really nice talking to you. Have you been enjoying the World Cup overall? I mean, forget England.
It's been exciting. At least there's been some good attacking football.
There's been some
over
cracking
the course of the
football.
competition. And at least there's lots of goals going in. So I've got to say, obviously as an Englishman, and you know, I think the expectation levels weren't there before the tournament, but just it was a little bit disappointing that
hang on a second.
we were out after 2 games, you know.
Do you know what isn't disappointing, though? That Spain, the champions, have gone out, right? Italy have gone out. It's a lot of big clubs have gone. But hear the cry, and I say this knowing James Brown is going to cheese salad me in some way, because he's got that look about him. But sometimes, when England are out of it, and I don't mean out of their heads, because they don't do they don't do that anymore, and if they do, they'd be an improved side. But when England are out of the trophy, you start to look at the World Cup, and I was looking at some of the games you've had cropping up, and some of these unusual combinations you get. You know, like Iran playing them, and I look at it and I think, you know what? If we were good at this game as well, it'd be really smug to have thought this up and be brilliant at it. It's such an amazing thing to give a sport to the world, to have thought up football and see these countries from the other sides of the world, and they come together and they're playing this game thought up and codified by 4 Englishmen in a pub, and it's this huge that it doesn't matter if we're in it or not. I always kind of think we sort of won the World Cup because we kind of gave the world the game, and it's just, you sometimes look at it and thinking, this is ours, this is our pyramid. You know, that people can marvel at. This great thing. 11:44. Lee Clark, who's next down the River Nile?
Who are you going to recommend, Lee?
Sean Davis, my ex-teammate at Fulham.
Right, okay.
Sean Davis. There we go.
He's the first white player I heard talking as if he was black.
Really?
Yeah, you know that the kids all talk now. Inner city kids, they've got...
What do you think? Listen, right with you.
he was the first player that talked like that.
Thank you very much indeed for that, James.
Bit of linguistic info there, but Sean Davis.
That's a lovely bit of trivia. Well, we're talking to Sean next. Can we just say a massive thank you, and please don't be a stranger on the show, Mr. Lee Clark.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, guys, I know.
Aren't they great, the Northeasterners?
Fantastic.
We can't get out of there.
James, you've got to stop doing this. It's the most annoying thing. I try to wrap up slickly at the end of each part, and I go, that's that, then you go, hey, the Northeasterners.
Yeah, well, really, do you think they really care when you talk to me about that? Do
No,
you think
45. You know,
I don't look at the clock.
I just said that's what the only thing you've got to do is just.
Always demand the genuine product from the best in the business.
The World Cup warm-up with Johnny Vaughan on Talk Sport.
Welcome back to the warm-up on TalkSport, the biggest show on the world's biggest sports radio broadcast. I don't boast, you say these things, it's a fact. You listen to Durham, you know why. Have you been listening to Adrian out in Rio?
I haven't heard this
He's
week.
brought a very, very spirit of Colchester transfers.
Is he bringing Brazil to the listeners?
He is,
Is he painting a picture?
He is painting a picture of Peterborough down there, making lots of, I don't know.
He's including everyone, all
This
the
week
listeners.
it's just been absurd. He did heads down. He did his, heads wrong. You know that
Heads gone.
heads gone thing
Yeah.
that drives me crazy. And he started off at number 10, Arsene Wenger. The man is facing that. I'm thinking he's not on at Wenger. Surely not even Durham.
He's just won the cup.
Durham in Rio, mid of the World Cup, criticises Wenger
For being in Brazil.
for having a break. And I'd say, arguably, being in Brazil, you're looking at a lot of talent on show. I mean, it's like you know,
All the deals are getting done.
it's like the ideal home exhibition
all
if you're
his-
in interiors,
It
isn't
is. It's an exhibition.
Also, all his own players.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of his team are
Most
there.
of his team are there, but it's not good enough for Durham. What's he doing there?
If he hadn't gone to Brazil, Durham would be saying, why isn't he out there?
Yeah, why isn't he out there? I'm just saying, is he taking Arsenal seriously? Should he even be there? Give us a call, please. Just putting the questions out
Do you
there.
think he cares?
But sometimes the way he acts like Wenger, you're thinking, is he talking about Prince Charles taking useless air miles? So he goes, more air miles, Wenger. He's only got phone off. Anyway, I was just listening to it. I was thinking, you can't. Wenger's got a right to be out there. He's not even. But the way he was talking, honestly, he was going, should Wenger be able to have holidays? Should he have time with his family? Should be entitled to a family? If you think Wenger's family should be taken away from, give us TalkSport a call, please. I'm just saying it's out there, Wenger, to have family taken away
Where should
and just to be locked in a portico and the treasure chest.
And he's moved to Arsenal for a goblet and a necklace
Yeah.
and a giant gold cross
Arsenal, of course,
with a ruby in the middle of it.
large security
large
around
cutlass.
large security around Arsenal today. The war chest is being brought in by 20 horses, Shire horses, having to bring that one in.
Arturo Vidal's agent has demanded a crucifix made of gold.
They've got the treasure is being looked after by a fat monk. A large friar is looking after it. What appears to be men in Lincoln Green with hoods, and there is a maiden up there.
The transfer war chest
transfer-
still heavy with doubloons.
With doubloons. Well, at the moment they've got pieces of eight and a wench they'll throw in.
Some
As part of the
horses.
deal, everyone negotiating with their faces covered with chicken grease and carrying massive keys.
Massive keys.
Loads of keys and just people around the table just with loads of chicken grease all around their mouths.
Doing Gregorian
Yeah.
chant
With-
in their monk habits.
Irish wolfhounds snapping at bones. Being told to get away from the war chest.
With Wenger eating a mutton bone
Yeah, yeah.
next to his war chest.
Keep an eye on them round the war chest. Everyone looking in and picking up objects thinking, why would anyone have made that out of gold? What is that shaped thing? A gold fire poker.
Where does he
A
think he's
gold
supposed to
cold
be?
scuttle.
Barcelona give 20 goblets for Luis Suarez.
And a set of chairs.
Where does he think he should be? The World Cup is the world's biggest works conference.
It's a trade
Every
fair.
agent, every
Not for
manager,
Durham. You
every
shouldn't be there.
scout, every player.
It's a trade fair.
Every manager.
It is literally a trade fair.
Seriously, he should be but not for Durham. He should be in a little poor cabin, as I say, with a lot of cash in Harry Redknapp's address book. Sort it out. It's disgraceful. Anyway, what else do I have to discuss? Another thing. Oh, Luis Suarez. Am I meant to be doing something in this bit, Steve, or can I keep going with it? Keep going. We'll do it back and back after break. Okay, here's just a little point for you. Roy Hodgson who I find increasingly fascinating, due to the fact he sounds like an ageing Danny from With Nell and I. If you chose to spite Roy, you would know that you have been spiked. Anyway, what really got me about it is they were talking about sort of FIFA, which I think is more and more dreadful as we go on in life. It's just more and more of a dreadful, dreadful organisation. But I noticed that Roy Hodgson used to have the job of going around the world to check the development of international FIFA tactics. That was his job. He used to just go around the world just checking how tactics are different in different countries. What a job.
Great
I mean,
job.
talk about nice work if you get it. So, no, I'm not looking forward to this week. I've got to go to Italy. I've got to fly off Thailand to see how football's developing.
I've got to
there.
stay in Capri at a five-star hotel.
You try going then to the USA to try and see how it's developing in schools. Everyone just goes, Roy Hodgson's kind of go, I'm Roy Hodgson, I'm here today just to look at some of the way tactics are developing. So if you just want to just run around a
If you
bit.
want to just send me an email about your tactics, I'll be in the Georges Cinq in Paris.
Seriously, watching football on the telly. Fairly. What I'm going to be doing, I'll be sitting in my hotel in Capri just watching Eurosport. And I can't believe that's actually a job. Someone's getting paid. Just go around the world just to sort of have a little... But it wasn't even specific. It was just studying the development of how different international tactics are coming along. What? It's like one of those really dull 4-4-2, 4-3-3. You know, the classic argument they have on Sky Sport in the warm-up. You're thinking,
yeah.
oh, just play us the football. Stop moving those little men round.
Hey, you know, we're right because you like
No,
it.
wait a second. Roy.
Right. With Roy,
Roy.
you know, like
Peru.
before the game's played,
When we played Peru.
I was thinking, even if we lose all the games, I'd still like Roy to be in charge. And then when we didn't really get anything, I don't want him to be in charge, but I do want him to be around. So he should be in charge of the FA because he's been on these FIFA committees. He knows who's going on. He's managed 2 or 3 international teams. He's managed in Scandinavia and Italy, Lancashire. You know, he's been around. Get rid of Greg Dye, have Roy in charge, and have a more bolder young manager.
Absolutely right. And
So we can enjoy him chatting.
Exactly. And the other
And
thing
reading his novels
is,
and
I think it'd be funnier if the
massive watch.
his huge watch, which they hold up at the end of games
That's
to show
right.
time.
Yeah.
The giant hublot.
Yeah,
It's Roy time.
That's Roy's watch. But I just sometimes think that the England manager, well, I looked at Roy there, and I was just thinking how just useless the whole thing's been, all those warm-ups, the weeks off, just what a waste of time, just a waste of everyone's time. I was thinking, do you know what? It's always been this way ever since I've been a kid. It should just be a job for life. That's it. Roy's absolutely happy. He comes out, he goes, what
You
can I
have
do?
just hit the nail on the head there.
It should be
You
like
said
being-
all of those warm-ups and all those matches and the tournaments. Think
Waste of
about
time.
when... No, seriously, what? Because we did
Easy,
so...
James, because you're getting a bit football these
No,
days.
no, but listen,
It's-
this
it
is about
doesn't-
people who didn't prepare.
Oh, no, but
Denmark, when they won that European Championships, were called off the beach.
Yes.
Because of the war in the Balkans.
I love that.
They rang the players
That's in the show.
who were all on holiday.
that just happened.
And they had no prep.
Now you're talking
And
to
they
me.
showed up and they just enjoyed playing football. They won the tournament.
Keep it coming, baby. That's what I like.
Stop planning for the World Cup. Stop training. Draw the team out of a hat. Pick whoever's best the week before, and you'd do fine. And
Yeah,
that's
do you
where
know-
he went wrong.
do you know
He
what,
should have
James?
played those kids who had great seasons.
Do you know what, James? You had me at A-up. It's 11:56. We're back in just 1 second. Back in a second. Stay with us.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah.
That is Otis Day and the Night coming at you. This is the warm-up on TalkSport, the biggest sports channel on earth, broadcasting live and free radio, football and sporting things. You can take it down a bit now. If you're going to do Animal House stuff, it's going to distract me too much. I'm obsessed with The House. I really am. I can even sing you like Hey Paula by Paul and Paula. Big hit 1963. It was a competition. Okay. I don't know if you're enjoying the BBC coverage at the moment. Sorry, I'm joined by Gavin Woods, James Brown. James, phone's down. Come on, you know the
No,
escape.
let me just read this before you get going. You'll
Okay.
like this.
Okay, go on.
This is from...
It's better be good, James.
This is what I always wanted from this show. James Warby is tweeted it. I had to pull over the car. I had to pull the car over due to laughing at the warm-up, describing Durham on Wenger. So good. We're bringing traffic to a
That's
standstill.
good. There's nothing more flattering. Thank you so much for all your texts. We are playing Mexican handbags. Remember, country, random object or noun. We'll try and explain what they were.
It's a bit like Australian names.
Which is a great another
We've
game.
had a few of these this week, and later we'll be reading
Brett
out.
Davidson.
We'll read a few of
And
these
once
out.
you get going, you can't stop though. Once you
Craig
start-
Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, Craig Kirkpatrick. No, Daryl Kirkpatrick.
Daryl Mahoney.
Brett Mahoney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It is good.
Kane McSheen.
Wayne Sean.
Yeah. Sean Wayne. Okay, it's 12:07 right here. I was just looking at the England, the BBC lot. Sorry, the ITV lot. And do you know what occurred to me?
Sitting on the beach.
Sitting on the beach. James, listen.
Go on, I'm listening.
Okay, the ITV lot sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this before, but the trouble is, once you take away the studio veneer and the clothing and just sit them in shorts on a beach, yeah,
As a bunch of blokes.
you're suddenly aware that people who talk about football are, firstly, incredibly boring, but also all come out with the same things. And once you strip away the studio, you're just left with like sort of 4 football bores sitting on the beach,
It's the same
coming out with the
conversation.
same crap. Most people do, but Gordon Strachan, I'm not kidding. He just went mad. He was sick. I mean, you know when you're in England, sort of British people abroad anyway. The way we dress, it looks like we've raided a UN food parcel, and we've just like literally grabbed every odd vest. I'll get the vest with Hollywood
Some
on,
small black
some
socks.
Blackburn socks from 1960, and I've got some shorts with Man United on, or the Chicago Bulls, which I'm going to team up with just a hat with Disney on it. That's it. Doesn't matter. Any combination. Sometimes it is quite weird actually when
It's
you go.
anything that's skimpy.
Yeah, no. When you go from a program about, say, raising funds for the third world, and you'll go to a village there and you see what they're wearing, and you cut to English holiday makers, and they're just dressed exactly the same. Generally, like a sort of a sport thong, a vest, a pair of shorts to don't match. You're thinking that's why they all end up wearing this in the third world. We just send them our holiday clothes. Anyway. We just sort of think, it's nice and warm, they just wear what we wear.
Yeah.
Just a rubbish T-shirts and anyway. And I was looking at Gordon Strachan, who was dressed like that. He's wearing these tight things. But Gordon decided yesterday, who either was in the world before a Jack Russell, or who he's coming back as one. I sort of look at him, I sort of think he's going to be the first Mac Russell.
A Scott Russell.
It's a little Scott Russell, a wee Mac Russell.
I've got no more fish today.
I've got no more haddock today at all. Yes, sir, can I help you? I'd just say Gordon Strachan, he is an iconic surly fishmonger.
I bumped into him at the end of last season.
Did you? Was he in a fish shop?
At a well-known football
no
ground
haddock
of a
today at
team
all.
that I support, and I said, Gordon, I said, do you wish you were out there? Because the game had started. He was there in his capacity as Scotland manager,
Yeah.
watching Ross McCormack. I said, do you wish you were out there? And he goes, no. That was that.
No, what I'm saying is, I can just imagine going to a fishmonger's. I've been going about this for years, and what happens is you go in, and Gordon Strachan's there behind the fish counter, and just because you've gone in and you're a stranger,
And he doesn't know you.
He,
Yeah.
he doesn't know you, and he'll just go. You just go, hello, have you got any haddock? And you go, I've got no haddock today at all. Hello, Brenda, how can I help you? And he really smiles at the woman there. Yes, Mrs. Tavish, how can I help you? And you go, well, have you got any side? None at all. Anyway, Gordon Strachan. He was outside. He was sitting outside the Esto with Adrian Charles, just looking like there's 4 of them looking like just really dreadful English tourists or British tourists. Yeah, he's sitting there, and there's something wrong about people broadcasting. You can sort of see their toes because Adrian Charles has got a really big. His next toe along from the big toe is much
I
longer.
missed this. Were they broadcasting off the beach?
On the
Yeah,
beach,
yeah, they were
yes.
sat
What
round
was
the
it, like
table.
an analysis show
Yeah,
or pre-match?
just like 4 drunks at a beach bar. You've got Gordon Strachan, and Gordon Strachan goes, he's talking about the Luis Suarez thing. Do you know what he said? He suddenly going, he suddenly just looked like a wee jock in like a bar, just sounding off like a bucket.
Like Begbie.
No, like Begbie. Honestly, like don't question me. He was going, football has got no morality. There's no morality in football, none. Hasn't been for years. There's no morality. I was thinking, that's a strong argument to argue there's no morality there. You know, and to back it up, he goes, no, it has been. He goes, even in my day, there was wife beating, there was dunk diving, there was
what?
Wife beating, dunk diving.
What's dunk diving?
Drunk
Drunk driving, James,
Oh,
when
right.
you drink on alcohol.
Right.
Because there was dunk diving, there was, and then he sort of paused. He's thinking, I've said wife beating, I've said drunk driving. What's the other?
Drunk beating,
there's drunk beating,
wife driving.
yeah, wife driving. There was. We're not belittling in any way any of those.
You can't
Both those
belittle such little-
no,
oh, no, not
I'm
the
not
subject,
belittling.
yeah.
I was just saying that Gordon was saying football's got no morality.
He went off on it, didn't
He really went off on it. And he's saying the way he was going on about sort of the way football is now. I was thinking, I've seen men eat their young by the side of a pitch. There's no morality. I've seen people Jack Charlton offering human sacrifice literally before a game. Just
It is true, actually.
To eat a child before a game, he's offering it up to Odin. There's no morality. It's pagan sport, John. Come to the islands, you can literally see people take wee farm animals, rip the skin off a live goat, and just the whole squad devour the naked flesh. Anyway, that's not quite what Gordon said.
No. I
Why
think you shouldn't go quite that
do you
far.
think there's no satanic goth-themed football team?
Do you know what? That's exactly where I was going to finish. That's exactly where I was going to end. That's what was the next hour. Why is there no satanic?
Because
God?
that American football team, Raiders,
Yes.
with a pirate, that looks
Yeah.
great.
That looks good, yes,
It
you're right.
does.
Chuck D used to wear it.
Yeah.
On the pub.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that was great. Why has nobody gone
Yeah.
sort of Dark Knight?
Well, Cavani really looks like one of those sort of vampires from an American goth TV series.
But it doesn't matter because football's got no morality.
But I know-
According to Gordon Strachan, there is no morality in football.
I know
None.
But Hull City, right, are really naturally upset that their club is the owner's
Trying
trying
to
to change
change
the
the name.
name, and he's doctored the badge, and
Yeah.
but actually. If teams, maybe a guy bought a new team that's faltering, if they properly went with the entertainment element of it,
Yeah.
we were
Yes.
talking about Lincoln earlier.
Yeah.
If they'd all dressed like Alan Adale in Lincoln Green,
exactly right.
but not just the shirts, with the felt hats, the leggings.
the snoods.
Okay, do you know what? Well, I was thinking about this for the World Cup. How much more interesting it would be because I was thinking about how moving it is to watch. These. Now we're out of it. To watch these, sides around the world. You got Algeria, and all around the world playing our game. I suddenly thought, but the one problem is. At the moment, only Ghana they've gone a bit African with the trim.
Yeah,
sort of another
yeah,
thing.
there's a little-
Go the whole hog, lads.
Yeah.
Go the whole hog, like a zebra print,
And,
proper thing like that.
lion skin underpants.
With like leopard print socks. But then I was thinking, have France just coming out, literally all got to wear berets.
And chef's tops.
And stripy tops. And that's how you've got to play. The Germans have to play in lederhosen.
Egypt just as pharaohs and
Yes,
slaves.
Exactly right. England all wearing dinner jackets. You can wear football
And the France goal.
John Le Mesurier models the England look.
Exactly right.
The France goal should literally be an onion bag.
Yeah, absolutely right. It should be the world.
would make it
all
better.
the Spanish wear slightly bolero style.
Yeah, yeah,
With
matador gear, yeah.
With like sort of, shirt.
high trousers.
Really high trousers, and they come on and say, bum, 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 bum.
How annoying must it be for Spain when they're playing Holland and got beat 5-1 to hear the Dutch fans olaying?
Oh, that must have driven them mad.
It's their own word and their own concept, isn't
Yes.
it? That you're passing someone
Yeah.
in the bullpen, in
They
the
go,
ball room.
"Ole!"
Ole! It must be so irritating.
But it'd been okay if they'd been in traditional costume, as indeed with Mexico, wearing those trousers with like the huge kick flare.
And the manager, instead of doing signals, should just have a pair of castanets tapping out signals.
Or one of those big guitars.
Yeah.
He has the biggest guitar.
That's the Mexican quartet, yeah, with the bass.
The huge guitar.
By segundo, esos muchachos.
Ya, los compañeros. Tú no le vives, estoy yo contigo, no me importa en qué forma.
papito, yo no lo puedo evitar.
Maestra vía. Toca sporta.
Tú eres la mujer de mi vida.
Sorry. I do enjoy it on those things sometimes when you're driving through a country. And you do hear
Radio.
You drive through the country and you hear someone else's sports coverage,
Yeah.
and they're talking about a goal today. The big Earn. They say to Big Ernie Ells.
That's right.
No time for the Big Ernie. Come in the Wemo the tuck box.
Tú eres la mujer de mi Gaza.
The last World Cup, I was watching a bit of that in America on Fox Spanish channel.
Oh, yeah.
And
The Ocho.
they were doing exactly that, and they called Aaron Lennon Speedy Gonzalez.
Did they?
Yeah, that's what they called him.
Is that your name
That's
for
true.
him?
They were calling Aaron Lennon. They were doing all the voices like you do. And he goes, Aaron Lennon, Speedy Gonzalez.
There's no morality.
Arribayor, Ocil. Arribayor.
Yeah, well, they just make it much more out of it, don't they?
Yeah.
We've got Durham.
We've got Durham coming. We've got Durham coming up. I've also got the my explanation of Suarez. But let's just think. Gordon Strachan at that bar was just talking, and no one wanted to pick him up on that argument. He's just really spoiling for someone to just discuss this. And he ended up just looking like he now probably even thinks he's right. He starts going, there's no morality in football at all. There's no morality. I see him wife beating, he's drunk driving. I forget what the third one was.
I
But then he clipped up. No,
I
but
didn't see it.
Anyway, but he was doing it, and I was thinking, what? There was players eating each other. Just seemed very strange. And I've got a full explanation for Suarez coming up. I've got the first person to be able to explain it, exactly the whole story. I've got the whole story for you.
And later in the show, we've got a sports psychologist to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm going to bust my theory.
You're going to cheese salad him.
I won't cheese salad him, James. There's no danger of that. Are you being quiet deliberately because it's 12:16? You're all right, you? It's really... It's sorry, because James Darwin all the time. It's now split me up.
You had no...
Confused the hell out of me.
You had no answer before, because what you didn't realise is you two know when the break's coming. I can't see the clock because I'm looking at you two.
I know.
If the time was based on the darts board...
All right, James, you've gone over again. The time's obviously only based on the darts board. There's no dancing at the moment in this very feminised atmosphere we're in.
It's double dartboard.
It's 12:17. We're back in a couple of seconds. I've got the Suarez thing. We've got Back in Black. We've got that girl, the Belgian fan. So that's the old Belgian helmet. Is one of the Mexican handbags we're going with this morning. The old Belgian helmet, eh? 12:17. The outsider awaits us. Are you right, outsider?
I'm here. I'm outside, but I'm coming in.
Nice. Outsider, what sort of a week have you had?
Well, it's been easy to dodge the football.
I bet it has.
Yeah, very easy. It seems that everyone was talking about it and getting excited, and you were seeing your country's flags on cars and things, and that was good. You know, you feel good about that. Even if you don't like football, you think, oh yeah, you know, it's my country good. I'm sure they're going to do a jolly good job. Yeah. And then it sort of disappeared.
Yeah, I was in my local Sainsbury's, and I told them, I commanded them to desporterise that section, the St George's flag section, which is still optimistically in some shops.
Was conspicuous.
Just because it's right there at the front. I said to the guy, I said, Ali, come on, man, we're out. You've got to get rid of it. And he explains to me that, you know, so far he hasn't been given the order from on high. I go, sometimes a bit of initiative. I mean, a lot of customers are staying away because I see that display of, like, St George's flags and...
And you're a media person, so when like the
Not
BBC
really.
spends all this money on getting football matches and then they don't win, are they then stuck having to put them on every night after night after
Yeah,
night?
they're stuck with it now.
But the other teams are winning.
But they could be putting a Doctor Who programme on or something.
Sorry, do you say they could be putting the Doctor Who programme?
Yeah. Well,
Yes, they could do that. No, sometimes you're lying too far outside society. They could put on the Doctor Who programme. The Antiques Hunt or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, they'll get more viewing figures rather than two countries that aren't going to beat us in the World Cup.
It does feel a bit like you're at a party or a wedding where you've been invited by a mate, you don't really know the people, and your mate's gone home.
Yes.
And you're still there.
I like that analogy.
Very good, bro.
I'm not
needed
sure
that.
you should stay.
You needed that, James. You needed that today.
That's good, yeah.
You've done your work. You've buried that.
It feels like that.
Give it up for James Brown.
That's a good one.
Because that was
Very
a
good
very good
He's
analogy.
done well. He's done well. Do you know anybody who's over there watching the matches? I'm guessing.
Everyone in this station, apart from us, and Ian in Danta.
Do you know something?
So are they like shuffling around and avoiding riots and things?
Do you know, for a second I thought you were going to ask if anyone here had like something you wanted to buy that was non-something. Is anyone there got one of those trailers?
Can they bring me back some of that?
I was really hoping you would ask something absolutely... Anyway, let's have your headlines.
Okay.
Let's have the dongs. Here we go.
Man United bag a sure thing for £30 million. Suarez ban gives Liverpool something to chew on. My iPad goes off and I have to quickly switch it back. Roy Hodgson counts the costs of failure for England with the promise of a new contract.
There we go. The outside.
good.
Thank you very much indeed.
Have you had any cups of beer this week?
No, he's gone. The outsider's gone. That's it. So
What does he do in between?
James, look, it's 12:44. Is that a
Well,
time
okay.
to start new energy, new subject? No, it isn't. It's a time to go into the adverts. Don't belch on the microphone. I don't know what is happening to you this morning.
The 2014 FIFA World Cup, Brazil.
Drink triple, sit double, act single. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport, Maestra Vida. It's 12:47 right here on Talk Sport. Smiling on your dial throughout the world, the biggest sports channel in world radio. We were talking. Just today in the on the back
Elvis.
I'll tell you about Elvis. On the back of the Sport today, it says that big spenders United in for £35 million Vidal. That is Arturo Vidal, not Sassoon. Okay, it's 12:48. Yeah, this guy, right? So there's this Elvis impersonators out about there. Just reminded me of the fact I'd shared a cell with him when I was about 22. I shared a cell with this Elvis impersonator.
How did that go? Did you enjoy that month?
No, it was not a good month. No, it drove me mad because he wouldn't let me move on with the sound effects. So
he kept making you study.
Yeah, so it started off with the wow, wow, wow. I tried at home. Wow, wow. And so then he had me on the
mouse, and then mouse.
And then he taught me that Elvis says the word
Mouse.
Memphis as you and I would say the word mouse. So I was just going
Moss.
no, mouse, mouse, mouse. Then he said you put a slight bounce in it to get the full Memphis effect, so it becomes mouse, mouse.
Moss.
Mouse. Then he taught me the last sound. He said, this one's the one I'm really trusting him with, which was... no. Anyway, so I was having to do these sounds together. And then eventually I'm going... whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Wow, wow. And then finally I've got to do a long... Thanks, James, for that. Cheers. Kids are listening. Cheers. Anyway, so he's taught me the last, the line. He says, I've got your line. He says, it's from my way, and the line you're going to do is, the end is near. Yeah? You're going to go to the end is near, and you're going to, and so I face, and be able to use all three sounds. So I've got there, and I've got onto the, and so I face, and so I face, and so I face. And then the very last thing he taught me, he says, listen to the way Elvis does tea in curtain. Listen to that, mate. Listen to the way he says tea in curtain. He made me listen to it again and again on this little Walkman thing. And all he was listening to was, after the, and so I face, it's our final curtain.
He really pronounces the T.
He really goes to the T.
Curtain.
Our final curtain. Curtain. But he had me doing it for a whole day of my life. I just spent going, curtain, curtain.
Please leave me alone.
Curtain. He goes, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it.
No, do it
I'll
again.
try it. Goes, curtain, curtain. Anyway, that guy, he has been caught apparently. This Elvis impersonator. And it's
Not the one you're talking about.
And it's not the same guy. No, that I had the pleasure with. Actually, he was in for. I think he attacked his mother-in-law on Mothering Sunday. But in the end, the judge let him go, saying, this man has suffered enough. So there you go. That's absolutely true story. It is true, yeah.
She'd provoked him.
Yeah, this man. Yeah, because every time his mother-in-law came around, he used to have to hide in the attic. His mother-in-law hated him so much.
Have you read that
And he
theory
didn't
online
actually-
about do you know the story about the Elvis?
Yeah.
There's a theory that there is. Well, it's not a theory. There was a guy who claimed to be Elvis.
Yeah.
And he was going to see this therapist.
Thank you, ma'am.
And they're very
After Elvis had died.
yeah, very respected.
Before.
Yeah, well, no. Yeah.
There's a very respected psychologist.
Yeah.
Who starts to believe
Don McPherson.
No, no, I said a very well-respected therapist.
Of course you did. Sorry. Yes.
Who starts to believe that the client is Elvis.
Yeah.
No.
So then this guy puts his whole medical reputation on the line, saying, "I believe Elvis is one of my clients."
How did that end?
And it's fascinating if you go into it, and there's a photograph of the fellow who claims he was, and he looks so unlike Elvis
You can't
that
believe
it's,
he's
that it's
fallen for
actually
it.
conceivable, because
Yeah.
everybody else who says, "Oh, Elvis is still alive. Here's a
Yeah.
picture of him." It's what he looked like, and clearly, if Elvis went into hiding, he wouldn't look like he did in Las Vegas.
Exactly right.
So the fact that this photograph, and experts have looked at something like the shoulder structure
And they've measured
and
it,
said
yeah.
his collarbone is the same collarbone as Elvis.
So in the estimate artist.
But it's a very, like, it's one of those conspiracies you kind of want to believe.
And it's become like those artists' impressions of dinosaurs, where they just sort of they find a bit of dinosaur toenail, and from that they extrapolate
thing's
it must have been
pink and green.
a vast pink and green water-dwelling object with massive teeth. And you're thinking, hey, you've got a toenail here.
Well, Metallica, when they did an album, they brought in a sports psychologist
Did they?
from the NFL.
They got a bit weird.
And
I saw them
he
with you.
stayed with him for
was
about
Megadeth.
a year.
Did he?
And he ended up writing lyrics on the album.
In that Metallica film,
Yeah,
you can
it's
see
called
you can
some
see
kind
the,
of monster. It's
but in,
called,
in the Metallica documentary, you can see some of the other members of the band politely trying to tell James Hetfield that it's not a good idea that the sports psychologist is writing lyrics. from
That's
Metallica.
right. Yeah. It's bizarre.
No,
how
it's
he
like-
gets
it's like-
involved.
it's like-
They ended up paying him $5 million over the year. You know, he was.
What is that- what is
he
that
was-
film called?
He kept saying it's called Some Kind of Monster.
It's a great film.
It's a
so
brilliant
sad
documentary, yeah.
When his new girlfriend or wife, Lars, the drummer's wife, is forcing him to sell his art collection.
Oh, that's right.
Because
yeah,
she
yeah.
said, "But darling, we're going to get a bigger house."
Oh.
And he's selling all these
Is he?
amazing
I've
paintings.
got-
he's
is
got.
it really good?
But he was
a really good
it's brilliant,
documentary,
and
really
he
good.
was the classic sort of. We're going to need to do another 12 weeks, I think, of therapy. You know, well, maybe we'll come back and we'll reconvene.
Well, that's my mum's a therapist,
and
right?
discuss royalty payments.
My mum's a therapist. I'm always sceptical not of her. She's very good at her job and everything. But I'm always slightly sceptical of anyone who says, I think we need to talk
4 times a week. Yeah.
It was basically, it's like having a builder in your house.
Constantly saying it's all got to come out again.
Just saying, the electrics as well. I think we're going to have to. It's a big job. We're going to have to haul the lot out. We're going to have
it's
to
all
have
got to come out.
another- Which is roughly actually what they're like in Parliament, really. They're just like a bunch of builders just voting what next to work on.
Yeah,
Is that Bob Ballard barking?
No, that's Jeffrey. Jeffrey, what is it, Jeff? Where's Jeff? Where is he? What's he doing?
He's got Bob under the desk.
He's writing Metallica lyrics.
What is he doing under there?
He's suggesting he does the next jingle.
Okay, I'll tell you something about Jeffrey. I've just covered the Jeffrey the Bulldog. Yeah?
I think he's angry with James's shoes.
No, John Bulldogs. But that's Jeffrey the Bulldog who's coming today. Jeffrey Jacket, and he's
He's got a surname.
No, he's
Jeffrey Jacket.
Jeffrey Jacket.
Is he related to Kenny Jacket?
No, he's not. But his real name's Britannic Goodfella Rolex is his breeder's
That's
name.
his breed name.
That's his breed
Britannic
name.
Goodfella Rolex.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You've made that up.
I haven't.
That would
He's
be a
named after a
great.
film and a watch and a
That'd be a
hotel.
great
All right, I'm just
racehorse
telling
name,
you,
wouldn't
that's
it?
his name. I don't go around making up dogs' names.
It'd be a great racehorse
Well,
name.
I did for Jeff. All right, Jeff. Thank you for joining in the discussion. Thank you, Jeff, for
Ed
agreeing.
Stewart. Was it Ed Stewart used to have a dog jingle?
No, I think it was Tony Blackburn. Woof woof to Arnold.
He's furious with the wire work under the desk.
Jeffrey, leave it. Because he did this once in another radio studio. And he kicked off at the cabling. It wasn't right. It was an orange cable. Freaked him out.
Is he going to attack?
He doesn't like change. He doesn't like change.
He's all wrapped up in the wires.
I moved a picture the other day in the house, and he was barking at it in its new position until it settled down back again.
He's actually, do you know what?
Until it bedded down in its new
No, I had to
position.
move it back.
He's barking at them lot through
He
the
is,
glass.
they're all waving at him like viewers
sorry.
at a zoo.
He's just seen Steve in his check shirt. He's gone, big country.
Jeff, for you, I'm afraid it really is. Final curtain. 12:55. We're going to take a break. We're back in a second.
Hey baby, won't you take a chance? Say that you'll let me have this dance. Listen. Go to the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too. Any old dance that you wanna do, but listen. Hey baby, yeah, you throw me so. Hold me tight, don't you let me go. But listen. Go to the twist, the stomp, the mashed potato too.
There used to be a chant at Chelsea years ago for this when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah?
Which was, hang on. It doesn't fit it actually with the tune. You have to turn on. I can't do it at the same time as the tune, but it was, we are the boys in blue and white. We like to sing and we like to fight, so let's fight. And that was as simple as that. I was thinking, good thing to put in your section on a job application. Application, interests, singing, and fighting. I think the next thing was, what was it? Was it with the Tottenham running, the Arsenal too, and then a real 70s lyric, the Wolverhampton from Molineux, so let's fight. They all sound like a chant there years ago. Actually, why am I doing with these chants? These are nothing to do with anything. These are
Exactly.
this bygone day that you can't celebrate. It was an awful era. But I would say there used to be a chant there. James, can you remember any of those more aggressive chants from back in the Leeds United days?
Well, you're just, you're going to get your
Yes.
head kicked in.
But imagine
you don't
that.
hear any of those
You don't
chants
hear that anymore, yeah.
'cause it's-
And saying that. I think the funny lyric, though, that I think is a funnier thing to chant, is to chant to someone, you're going home in a private ambulance. It's only because I saw one of those things, I realised that's...
That's the opposite of here. We're working here in a horrible ambience.
Anyway, one of the other songs I was laughing at. Oh yes, that was it. If you like a lot of aggro at your football, join a club, which was like an old advert as well. It's like a really
For Club Biscuit.
Yeah.
Why did the Club Biscuit have the golf ball on it?
I don't because
For the plane.
No, it's golf club.
I know, but what is the connection? Was it supposed to be like the face of a putter? Or?
It is a golf club.
Did you ever used to take the Club Biscuit out of the club?
Am I wrong?
Out of the wrapper and then reform the foil back to the
Yes,
shape
to make it like the
and
photo-
push it back in the sleeve
and hope someone grabbed it.
Yeah, and put it where
yeah.
someone.
Yeah, were you one of those guys? I was
I
never that
was.
patient.
Are they still out there, Club Biscuit?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Have I really transgressed the law there? Because no one ever talks about the unmentionable thing of aggressive songs. But these are old days, weren't they?
Yeah.
Can we talk about this stuff? Is this really offensive? Like you're saying, you're going home in a thingy ambulance and we're having a bit of a...
The other thing you don't see
but
is the
James,
scarf on the
James,
wrist.
You don't see scarves on the wrist.
And the
It's
big
got to
hat.
come back.
Well, I've got a memory of being about 8 in the centre of Leeds. So 73 were a great
Yeah.
team, and seeing these boys running. It's probably teenagers or
Yeah.
you blokes in their early 20s. Flares,
Yeah.
stack heel boots,
Yeah.
Scarf on the
tight
wrist.
Yes.
t-shirt, maybe an Adidas t-shirt or.
Just
and a
tight, James,
scarf.
just tight.
One of them had dungarees on.
Yeah.
And they look so
Dungarees.
hard.
Yeah,
They have the lead scarves, silk and wool, hanging off, and they were just tearing in.
What happened to those silk scarves, though? They went along with club pendants. You know, they hand over... Instead, did you see at the start of the Nigeria game? I can't remember who they're playing. Was it Ecuador? No, I can't remember. And they're unlikely to be Ecuador. And they're exchanging pendants at the start of the game. But I noticed the Nigerian team, they gave over a bag. I was thinking, oh yeah. The old Nigerian pendant.
The old
And we're
Nigerian
playing,
bag.
The old Nigerian, the old diplomatic pouch.
Yeah.
What else have we got to discuss? Oh, sorry if I did offend anyone talking about any of those old stupid chants in a bygone era when football was fearful and nasty to go to. And my goodness, it's a lot better
You
now.
didn't have to apologise for being nostalgic.
Didn't I?
No, in those days you didn't have to.
No, it seems extraordinary though that now to think of that. To think of people literally chanting another group of men that they were going to get their heads kicked in. And
I was,
now it's like it's just. But that was it. That's for a Saturday afternoon, just to go. You're going home in an ambulance to 5,000 people that have bothered to go all the way from Stamford
Also,
Bridge.
that's
to
not
Ellen
They're not going
true
to send you
anymore,
all going
would it?
home on a coach.
No,
Yeah,
because
exactly right. Yeah. You're going home by luxury transport. Yeah.
a medic
In
would arrive.
executive coaches.
A medic would arrive on a motorbike.
Yeah.
Basically. you
Anyway,
wouldn't be
listen,
going on an
do
ambulance.
you know, if I have offended anyone, and they and I know people are going to say he's just stupid talking about those bygone days. Sorry about that.
Do you think the St John's ambulance are like nostalgic for
God's
those
sake,
days? No,
James,
listen,
I'm
listen.
just saying, just let me tell you. Never let me dig myself out of trouble.
Do you think the St John's ambulance are going? Used to be great in the old days.
We used to get sung
loads
about.
of action.
Yeah.
Loads of action on a Saturday. Nothing happens now.
No.
If you're
No, they
lucky, you
don't
get
do
to
that.
help carry the big orange tray that the players come off on.
But also, when I go
They'd
to...
make great snow sleds, those new stretchers, wouldn't they?
Is that what you think as well? I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
you could get
fantastic.
4 kids in one of
Yeah.
them.
Easy.
Easy.
Yeah, and give them a good shove. So they'd never want to do it again.
Never, ever. You're all crying at the end.
Crying at the end, miserable time. But I tell you, I do think that in a way it's sometimes ludicrous when I roll up to say European midweek game, and it's telling me to enjoy. I was talking about this on the midweek show, I think with you, James.
Yeah.
I said midweek show. I was allowed to do a couple of shows midweek. I haven't got a midweek show.
Yes.
There's a very important distinction. But I was just sort of. I will talk about it another time, James, because we argued about it last time. And it was a bit odd.
Yeah.
I was just saying that it's a bit weird. It says enjoy responsibly about Heineken, and yet they won't even let you have a
beer at the game.
A beer at the game. And you think, well, I'd like the chance. Do you know what? It's impossible to enjoy booze irresponsibly at football. If you can get 1 pint in at half time, you're good.
Yeah.
And if you can be irresponsible with that, then frankly, you must be.
And
like
it's probably Caliber or Barbican
It's
Lager
very
anyway.
difficult to be a responsible parent at a game and still be involved in aggro. I seen a bloke at the South
James, I've
Stand.
got us out of this.
No, we can talk about this. I seen a bloke in the South Stand Road a few years ago. He's got his kid in his right arm.
Yeah.
And he's punching a bloke with his left arm. And he was winning.
Oh, okay.
Responsible parenting.
No, I don't, is that responsible parenting? I don't know. Give us a call
Irresponsible
now.
behaviour.
Is that responsible just putting it out there?
Was the kid not joining in enough?
Yeah. When a man is in his shed and he's putting 6-inch nails through a baseball bat, should he tell a child how much to leave out? Okay, it's 1:10 right here on the warm up. We're really going
Let's do
down.
Back in Black.
Let's go Back in Black because we've got to get to a safe place here, James. 'Cause at the moment we are in very much
murky waters.
We really are in the
Just throwing it out there.
heart of darkness is where we've gone today. We really have. And
Man.
we've met Colonel Kurtz. Man. Okay, here we go. The horror, the horror. It's Back in Black.
Back in black!
Back
1:11 right here on the warm-up talk sport. Apologies, we're not in any way condoning those bygone eras, the days. James and I were just remembering a couple of the songs and thinking, my goodness, how the game's improved. Hasn't it changed? Isn't it good we can now be neutral? Which is indeed what I found about supporting the Swiss. I was saying that last week. I felt nothing for them at all, just neutrality. Suarez, Gav.
Yeah, well, the Uruguayan president, Jose Alberto Pepe Mujica Cordano, it's his full name. He's come out to...
Yeah, I know the guy,
He's come out to support Suarez.
Has he?
And I was just thinking...
What does he say in support?
David Cameron would never come out to support a footballer in a sort of disciplinary hearing,
He
would
did. He did a few years
Didn't
ago.
he? For
Yeah,
who?
a few years ago, Cameron got involved in...
Don't cheese saddle him. For these effects, he didn't. Go on, Karen.
Okay.
Well, anyway, his quote was...
Just lie, James, lie.
In football, I was taught you obey what the referee says. And if nothing gets spotted, basically, there's no problem.
There's certainly a logic to what he says.
If we're going to take decisions in football based on TV, then there are loads of penalties and handballs. But, you can... The urge to compete can make you do a handball instinctively or make a foul or
The
whatever.
urge to compete and make you do some terrible things,
But
Gavin.
if you bite someone, you've decided to bite someone.
No,
It's
every year I
different.
play killer with you at pool, and I know exactly what a man can do, Gav. I've seen you. I've seen you deliberately take your place in the order, so you know you're always going after a slightly weaker player who might leave on
To
hanging.
set
Gav.
me up,
You're a shocker, Gav.
And then I really aim.
Yeah, you really, not only does he really aim, but he really likes to go past the bad
I've
player.
only ever won it once.
Okay, go on.
The West Brom defender Diego Lugano, he said when he was asked about the incident, he said, "What incident? I don't know what you're talking about."
Nice.
They're in such denial. I just thought it was amazing.
Well, do you think he did give him a tooth butt? Do you think he shoulder butted him?
It was a combination, wasn't it?
Well, I think
you don't bite someone by accident.
No, but maybe the guy deliberately aimed for his teeth with his shoulder. He shoulder butted the guy.
I think you've always got to look at it from both sides.
Anyways,
James Brown on form today. It's good to have him here. Okay, let's have Capello.
Yeah, Capello was.
James, you're so silly.
Capello was
sometimes.
complaining
You
about the.
really say some stupid
I
things.
believe that.
I know. I think we should look at it from both sides.
Capello was complaining about the refereeing in the match with Belgium, and he was talking about a laser pointer in Akinfeyev's eyes. Did you see that? The Russian
He
goalkeeper.
was having eye surgery during the match.
No, he wasn't. No, but it's a good idea.
I was just wondered if you try and distract someone with a laser.
Do you say it in a Spanish accent? You said, I just wondered.
I just wonder.
No.
If you have the laser and this distraction, and you have a little bit of distractions.
You did. You slightly do. But I was just thinking, John. If you have a laser,
Well, he was complaining that the ref didn't intervene.
but you should have done.
Well, no, but if the ref intervenes, then surely the fans will start thinking, hold on. If we want the game to just stop here, shine a light into your own goalkeeper's eyes, and they'll have to stop it. And then
Yeah. Also, once you start shielding people,
It's
if it's a
incorrect.
ref's job to shield players from lasers,
From danger.
No, that's a different game. It's called Laser Quest. It's a very different thing. You can take the kids. It's a good day out. But a referee can't ensure there's no lasers. Actually, it was probably. Dun dun dun! They should have just, as soon as they saw that laser, they should have just cut to Vincent Tan in the crowd.
Yeah, well, he'd probably have.
I decided to bring a laser.
He'd probably have a really big one based in space.
Yes, that might be where that laser came from.
Just burn up the whole pitch.
It literally came from the crater of a dormant volcano in Wales.
Yeah.
Just slid back. That laser came up. He was just testing it out down in Brazil. Okay, next on.
Yeah, just quickly, we're going to go to a break.
Yeah,
in a
just
sec.
quickly, go on.
The Brazil game tonight, the Brazil-Chile game. Sanchez has said, "Oh, I hope we have a balanced referee." He's doing a Fergie. They should have just hired Fergie for one game just to set the referee up. But Brazil have been furious about it. He says. What does he say? The PR guy for the Brazil Federation says, "We are going to talk about this only once. The press in Chile have stressed this issue all week, and it's something that is immature. This pressure is ridiculous."
Sometimes the way they talk there.
He said, "This is not a lack of respect towards FIFA. It's a lack of respect towards Brazil. Brazil don't need a referee to win a match, and you should respect a little bit more the Brazilian people."
Do you know, I'm starting to think that there could be war after this World Cup.
Well, it's Howard Webb in that game. And,
I know, but I'm just saying that the only war that's happened because of football was that one between El Salvador and Honduras.
Well, do you think they're nervous that if Brazil lose to Chile tonight, that all these kind of bubbling protests that are happening are just going to suddenly come up?
Well, in the favelas, in the many
up in the favelas, up in the hills.
They have a spirit called conquito. It is the spirit of it's a Brazilian thing. You don't understand it. It's the spirit of joy without any property. It's the abandonment with the football, but it can also mean intense disappointment when your car breaks down. Conquito. It's a spirit in Brazil and in the favelas. When you get a bit of petrol just splashed on your trousers, you might feel it. Okay, so 116. Now, do you know what? As Gordon Strachan revealed, football's got no morality. Because Gordon has seen people eat their young before games. It's got that bad.
I put a man in the Wicker Man.
I've seen people placed in large wooden wicker people burnt before, and that's just before. Gordon's
as a matter of routine.
I've seen domestic violence, there's car crashes, there's literally drunk driving, people hitting each other, smashing each other around the head with a ball.
And no haddock today.
And that's before I've left home. And that's before I've left Norman Whiteside's house. Okay. I'm not implying any of those crimes are applicable to him, and that was a shocking thing to say, and I'm going to have to move on. Okay, but the point is, football might not have any morals. Oh, but TalkSport has. She's Katie Murrell. Oh, it's pathetic. Katie, how are you? Are you all right?
I've heard that one before, actually, Johnny.
Every game, every goal, every day.
The World Cup warm-up with Johnny Vaughan.
On TalkSport.
The FIFA World Cup on TalkSport with Vauxhall, the England team sponsor.
1:22. You're listening to the warm-up on TalkSport. Can I say, just to save a lot of advertisers a lot of trouble, everything is now available cheaper. Basically, whatever you're thinking of buying now is cheaper elsewhere somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything now cheaper.
All the time.
Come to Britain. Everything now cheaper. Just go online where it's cheaper. Compare cheaper things.
I like
cheaper
things. Those Sofa Warehouse sales where the original price was £5,000.
Yeah,
now it's only 700.
I want to compare sofas.
It was never 5,000 quid.
Isn't there a compare sofa site where you can compare sofas? See a sofa you like, compare the price of other sofas. Go to the sofa comparison site.
From your sofa.
From your sofa. You can sit there and compare sofas. Sorry. Right, do you know what? We've got just a couple more Mexican handbags before Big Laurie McMenemy is here. First of all, we've got one here. Mexican handbags. They'll keep up. There we go. It's time to play Mexican Handbags. Simply pick a name. It's a travel game. I play with my family as we go anywhere. It's much better than I Spy. Here's the first one. The old Algerian walkover. Shall I tell you what that is, fellas? According to Mark Bloodsport,
yeah, go on.
The longest distance between two pubs on a pub crawl.
No.
The Algerian walkover. It's lovely, Mark. Thank you so much.
I got one from Danny Cox. The old Cameroonian win bonus.
What's that?
When your boss promises you a quarterly bonus but sets an unrealistic target.
the old Cameroon win bonus.
Yeah, win the World Cup, you get your bonuses.
Yeah, the old Cameroonian bonus. That's a lovely one. Who was that? Danny Cox.
That's Danny Cox.
Well done, Dan.
I've got one here from Cold Bar.
Yeah,
probably called Colin or something. The old white horse, meaning a place to watch England get beat twice and to get Sepp-blooded.
Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, it was the old white horse situation again. That same pub you go to every time just watch England lose. Also, Ian has said, let's debate that. Okay, we can take down the Mexican bits because we've got a man who is certainly not Mexican.
No, by any stretch.
For me, he is football's biggest big. You know, you earn the title big in football. Not necessarily being big. Like Big Ron isn't that big. Big Ron's like...
Isn't he?
No, he's like a midget.
Is he? No, he's not.
In comparison to Big Lol McMenemy.
Hi, Laurie.
Laurie, how are you this morning?
Uh-huh.
You well?
Uh-huh.
He's doing an Elvis.
Yeah, he's
Yes, Johnny, I'm fine, thank you. I hope you are well.
Yeah, I hope you are. Another chairs in your parlour. Laurie,
yes,
what
sir.
have you made of England's disappointing exit from the World Cup?
Well, it's certainly disappointing. I thought we would get through the stages, the first stage. Not surprising that we're weaker now, because simply if you look at the Premier League, I mean, you're talking about Elvis, but the Premier League is king, isn't it, at the minute?
It really is.
And
It's a lovely time, Laurie.
Very, very media friendly, McManamy.
You know, you've only got 23% players English in the Premier League now. Most of the clubs are managed by foreign owners, managed by foreign managers. England, I'm afraid.
But to be fair, Laurie, England were even worse when they had a wider choice of England players, when actually the strongest players in the English clubs then were Scotsmen, a lot of them. If I look at Leeds, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, Man United, they're all Scotsmen.
Nah, they weren't.
Well, a lot of them were.
Leeds United, Jack Charlton, Norman Hunt, I'd do us a favour.
Yeah, but
Terry Cooper.
Yeah, and they're Peter
Alan
Lorimer.
Clark.
Peter Lorimer, they're Eddie Gray.
Eddie Gray, Frank Gray, Gordon McQueen, Joe Jordan, Arthur Graham. Don't start me on this, Laurie.
We're just saying is that even in the era when there was lots of English players playing there, often it gave our managers kind of option paralysis, and they still couldn't get the right side after 1970, or certainly before 86, I think, next time we qualified.
I think, I mean, there's an argument on both sides, but you can't argue against the fact that there's less to pick from now, and they all tend to be at the same clubs, the top of the league, etc. And money has changed everything, and everybody wants to be up there in the Champions League now.
But Laurie, the other thing I was just sort of thinking, as I watched England depart, I was thinking, well, you know what? Uruguay, they are higher seeded than us. Italy traditionally are a better international side than England. They genuinely are. We weren't expecting the Costa Rica business. Tough group. Oh,
it was a hard group.
It was a really hard group. You got 3 World Cup winners. But I suddenly thought, Laurie, which I don't want to worry everyone. Maybe England are sort of like in international football, a bit like Tim Henman was as a player. He actually did quite well when he got to those semi-finals, those couple of times. But actually, we invented the game. But we're all right at it. We're not that good at it.
Well, I think that our English players come up against South Americans and other European players week to week, but they never come up against the whole team until the competitions.
Yeah.
And the competitions like this are only held every 4 years, the Europeans in between. We don't play South American teams very often.
No.
With the climate and everything else down there, that went against us. But you see, I think that, in my short time with England, I managed the under-21, but also the B team.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should have been abandoned, because the B team gave the manager an opportunity to see players who were too old for the under-21 but on the edge of the first team, and give them lots of experience.
Well, it's reserve team foot. It's why you have a reserve team at Premiership.
It would have brought somebody like Adam Lallana to Roy's attention earlier.
Adam Lallana, yes.
He would have seen him earlier because he only discovered him this year.
Okay, Laurie, James, this is what I think, right? I think whatever we're doing now, for so long that we've been doing, just isn't working. So we know what we can throw out. I tell you what we can throw out. Everything we've been doing up till now. The best I've ever seen England sides look, really, was when Venables was there for a bit, and then after that, when you got the feeling players actually felt like a group of mates. They weren't just in this style thing, but actually, the one thing we've forgotten is what it feels to have a team spirit there, and that's what I never see whenever I see England kicking around. And you can talk about Rooney going in the hole and someone going there. It'd have been different if they'd have taken out.
No, Johnny, actually, everybody who was around the team says that they were very relaxed there.
I know they're all relaxed. I'm not talking about that.
Can I ask Laurie a question, Johnny?
I'm talking about having a right good drink up.
Laurie, we're always talking about the players. You were interviewed for the England manager's job. Do you think the FA picked the right managers? And what was it like when you were applying for the job? What was the process like?
Well, first of all, I didn't apply.
Sorry, when you were interviewed?
Well, I got a phone call.
So when you broke into the office?
Yes, I did, overnight. I broke in, and the other two that broke in at the time were Bobby Robson and Brian Clough.
Okay,
the three of us were given an hour each.
3 violent men, go on.
Yes, the 3 of us were given an hour each. I mean, Cloughie famously, we were sat there together, and an old gentleman climbed the 2 steps outside the door, came in puffing and panting, and Cloughie said, hey, old man, don't try and climb the bloody stairs, you'll never make it. Get in the lift. So I thought, well,
young man, you'll have to get in the lift, young man.
Yeah, I thought, he's got no chance, and he didn't get it. But the 3 of us got a long interview, and Ron Greenwood wasn't there, and he got the job.
Really?
But seriously, that was right at that time. But
what did they ask you, Laurie? What sort of questions did they ask?
Oh, yeah, I told them about a long time ago. I mean, every
come on, Laurie, you must remember what they asked you during the England interview.
They asked your thoughts on the way the game would be played, etc., etc. And I think because we'd all had a little element of success, certainly in my case at each club, we'd won the cup and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they had decided that they would give one of us the opportunity to carry on at international level where we left off at club level.
Did you get the impression they knew what they were doing?
Well, you see, I mean, when I was...
Come on, Laurie. No, Laurie, when you shut the door after the interview, did you think... Did you shut the door and think to yourself, bloody idiots? Seriously. As you walked out, you've just gone, you're on your own, you morons.
You sound like Jack Charlton there.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen,
well, I was joking about it.
Answer the question, Laurie. Did you have confidence in the FA?
Or did you leave there
let me
thinking...
get a word in,
No, we won't.
Yeah, let him get a word in.
Go on, Laurie, go on.
When you're managing one of the 92 clubs, and don't forget I'm managing every one of the 4 divisions, you only think 92, 92, 92.
Yeah.
When you get with England, you realise that the 92 is only at the top of a massive pyramid.
Yeah.
And at the very top of the pyramid is the FA Cup, which has been devalued a bit now, and then the England team at the top, right? But the pyramid underneath the 92 has got to be looked after by certain people. And people like the chairman, etc., of a club goes on to the club league committee. He then goes on to the county committee, and eventually one of them will get into a committee with the FA. So all of these fellas that are at the FA have had a lifetime in football, but not necessarily a professional level.
Yeah.
So you cannot deny that they've spent...
Yeah.
Is the answer no? You didn't have any faith in their football knowledge?
No. You had people like Bert Millichip, who was much derided in England, but much respected around the world. I realised that when I was with England.
Was that Mrs. Thatcher?
Well, possibly, but Bert Millichip had seen it all. But you're talking about gentlemen who were amateur and gave their time up, as opposed to working and living in the professional atmosphere.
Yeah.
And as you well know, it's a different animal.
It is. But Laurie, but my point is, I just suddenly think when we departed the World Cup this year, I was thinking, well, you know what? We were seeded third in the group, if you look at it.
Yeah.
We were below Uruguay, we were 6th seed. Italy, 9th seed ahead of us. We went out there. We were hoping for big things. We didn't know Costa Rica would bolt out of nowhere to do that. And sometimes I just think to myself, you know what? All this sort of self-searching, and you start to look at our history. Yes, we did win in '66. It was a home. We did have exceptional players. Perhaps it was a better side in 1970, even though eventually Brazil pulled it back in the 2-0 and everything. But you know what? Perhaps we just end up where we end up. We are 10th seeds at football, and that's how we sort of play, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think this time was the first time for many, many years that the English public didn't expect to win the blooming thing.
Yeah, well, you don't. You've got two sides above you.
But I think realism is setting in, and the fact is, if you want to analyse the games, I mean, the Italian game could very well have been a draw.
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney doesn't miss those chances every time. You got into situations that normally you might have scored. The Uruguay, I mean, he had one fella, you can talk all the day long about his punishment, etc. But the 2 goals he got were phenomenal. And we know from seeing him in the league last year, an outstanding player when he's on his game.
Yeah.
And it was very sad, and I felt for Roy Hodgson. I spoke to Gary Lewin, the physio, who got
bottled off.
Early.
How is he now?
Well, when I spoke to him, his operation had been completed, his leg was in plaster, and I think if England had got through, he'd have maybe gone back as a spectator. But I spoke to him about general things, and he said the spirit was fantastic.
Okay.
It's great, and he's an expert. He's been there many, many times.
Okay.
So I don't think you can go too deep into Roy or whatever.
Do you know what, Laurie? I just come to the conclusion. It doesn't matter actually who we have as manager, how we change it. We just that's what we are. England, we can't. We really, men and water find their own level, and so it is with football teams. Eventually, you'll just find your own level. And if we look at how we've performed over the years in the World Cup, nothing's really done to change it too much. We had that win in '66, but really, men and water find their own level, and we find ours. Laurie, the only other thing I was going to say to you is, oh yes, I feel rather proud still. Whenever I was saying this earlier. When I watch, some of the more, kind of weird fixtures there, and you're seeing sort of Iran playing and Algeria playing, or a cracking game between, say, Ghana and Portugal the other night, and you're thinking, you know what? England kind of win it every year.
Yeah,
We gave the world this sport. They're all playing, and you sort of think, for years I used to enjoy Wimbledon, and there was never a British player in there.
Yeah.
It was just we'd given the world lawn tennis. It was actually an event. I'm not saying it's our event every year, but sometimes you have to say that whenever ball meets. Whenever foot meets ball out there, it's a victory for England. Just like whenever a head meets a nose, it's a victory for Newcastle culture.
Well, listen, Johnny,
easy. I was just
listen,
being.
I mean, you're dead right. You're dead right. Listen, an Englishman took the game to Brazil.
Yeah.
Charles Miller.
Yeah, exactly right. And you got all these sort of games like you got in Argentina, you've got like Newell Old Boys and all these sort of. They're all formed around old English sports.
An Englishman who went to school in Southampton took 2 footballers back out on holiday and started the game of football in Brazil.
Now look at it.
Who refereed the World Cup final in 1950 in Brazil?
Who was it?
George Reader. My chairman is Southampton.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
he was a school teacher.
There we go.
George Vader.
54-year-old. The crowds were given out twice. One was 199,000, the other one was 210,000 in the Maracana Stadium.
Wow.
All right? That's shut you up, John, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Have you got any more facts like that, Laurie?
No, Laurie, thank you so much, though, because it's always nice. It's
always a pleasure to have
It's
Laurie
always a
on.
pleasure to have Laurie on, but it's nice to it's nice to agree. We see really eye to eye on that point. I can't wait to meet up.
Johnny, before we go,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about the Forces Day today.
Oh, yes, do you know what?
Yeah.
It is Armed Forces Day today.
Yeah.
I was involved a couple of years ago, went down to Plymouth, had a cracking day out.
Yeah, I know you were, yeah.
You once served in the army.
I did the National Service, Coldstream Guards, Nulli Secundus, which means second to none.
Yeah.
I used to stand behind in front of the gates. We were brave. We stood outside the Buckingham Palace.
I know, but that's only because you're a Geordie. Never mind the gates. I'll get and tack them on, baby, safely,
I'm going to leave you with a question. We're all proud of the soldiers. I went to Afghanistan, remember, with Gary Mabbitt in 2002.
Easy, that was a secret mission. You weren't meant to give that away, what you and Gary got up to.
Hey, there was a football match put on to celebrate the end of the war, would you believe? 2002.
Was there?
Yeah, packed house and everything. Anyway, listen, I'll leave you with a question. When you're looking at the guards outside the Buckingham Palace or wherever they're marching, how can you tell if they're Grenadier, Coldstream, Scots, Irish or Welsh?
Okay.
I'll leave that one with you.
I'll come
Do you know
and
the
answer. No, I don't know. I know one of them has a different marking down the sleeve. Is that the Irish Guards? Buttons. Okay, go on, tell us. Okay, go on, tell us, Laurie. Tell us.
Grenadiers' buttons are in 1s, Coldstreams in 2s, Scots in 3s, and I think it's the Welsh 4 and the Irish 5. All right, and also the colour at the side of the what do they wear on their heads?
Bearskins.
Yes, I thought you might say Busby. It's not Busby, it's bearskins.
It's bearskins.
All right, and some have got a red plume on one side, red on the other. Welsh have got a different
How
colour.
heavy are those to wear? Are they heavy on the head?
Yeah, they were heavy and they were tight around your forehead, and you had to put them in water the night before, shake them, and then brush them.
Did you?
And have a nice tail on them at the end, yes. The officers had the best ones.
Did they?
Aye, and they usually had somebody to do all the cleaning and polishing their boots, etc., and we didn't.
Okay, listen, Laurie, thank you very much. I love you, Laurie, wearing those bearskins.
Yeah.
I always look at them and think, what's that like to
Johnny,
wear?
listen, John, I'm just nearly finishing a book with Alec Montgomery, and it'll probably be about Christmas. And when I was in Birmingham a few years ago, having my hips operated on, would you believe, a lady nurse said she knew Ron Saunders. Remember Ron?
Yeah.
And she said, have you written a book yet? I said, no. She said, I've got a title for you when you write it. The title was Bearskins and Balls.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic.
I don't know whether...
It's a winner. It's certainly good on a niche channel with a .com after it. That was Big Laurie McMenemy live and direct here on your warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan. Thank you very much for listening to the show this morning. We've got about another 20 minutes to play. James Brown is here. Gavin Woods is here. They're peachy keen to get on with some more stuff. We're back in a second.
2014 FIFA World Cup Brazil on TalkSport.
World-class World Cup football every day.
We got 64 live games on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Talk Sport.
Admiral for requesting that picture of Hottie Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, as he says, she looks sexy, whatever she is or isn't wearing, which is, I thought, a very...
And he needs that in print.
And that's in print. He couldn't get hold of any other photographs. But I say, Rosie, if you're if you are listening, good morning, and you look great there. You can always get me on my Instagram account. There, I've got pictures of Pele and stuff.
You know, in the Roman Forum, they wouldn't have sent the bloke home for biting, would they?
No, they definitely wouldn't.
No, I
James.
think you had to bite in the Roman Forum.
I'd rather be bitten than spat at.
Predictions.
Okay, here we go. James, bitten or spat at?
What?
On a football field, bitten or spat at? Which would you reckon?
I'd take the bite.
I'd take the bite. Which, Gav?
Yeah, it depends where I'm bitten, but probably the bite.
I'll go for the bite as well. Okay. Is every time I look at that Rijkaard thing, it always makes you actually literally still want to kill him. Okay, here we go.
We're into the knockout stages. How are we going to do this, Johnny?
Well, it's Gavin Woods, 22 points. James Brown, 22 points. The bench, 12 points. I'm last on 11 points. It's a complete reversal of how the season went, but we're going with Brazil versus Chile. Here's the deal, right? If you predict, you can say for the first game, Brazil versus Chile. If you say Brazil on penalties, that gets you 3 points.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but if you just say Brazil and they win on penalties, but you haven't said on penalties, you get the 1 point for the win.
What happens if you don't think you'll go on penalties?
You just say the score as normal.
Yeah. So you pick a score or you choose
you choose penalties as an option. Penalties is treated like a score. Here we go. Gavin.
I'm going to go 1-2.
You think Chile are going to win 1-2?
And I think it'll go to extra time.
Okay, you don't have to say that because
but that's the final
incidentally,
score.
we're playing. It's not about 90 minutes. It's about if you're going for the score. It's about the score before the penalties.
Yeah.
Go on, James.
I actually think Chile will win, but I'm going 3-2 to Brazil.
You go 3-2 to Brazil. If Brazil win on penalties, you'll get 1 point, for instance, for that. Right?
Yeah.
If Chile win on penalties, you'll get 1 point.
It counts
for
as
that.
a win.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Who's on the bench today?
It's me, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Sarah.
I'm really well.
Where are you?
Good?
Where are you? I gather you drive around somewhere listening to us.
Yeah, well, today I'm not. I'm at Kirkstall Abbey. I'm in Leeds at a deli market drinking beer.
Oh,
in a cafe bar?
You're in a cafe bar, love?
Cafe bar.
There's no cafe bar at Kirkstall Abbey.
There, how did England losing out in the World Cup seem to go down in that city?
Sarah, just tell us what you think the score will be. Brazil, Chile.
2-1 to Brazil.
2-1 to Brazil. That's the wench on the bench.
What are you saying,
Okay,
Johnny?
I think the score will be today 2-0 to Brazil. Okay, Colombia versus Uruguay. Sarah, wench on the bench.
2-1 to Colombia.
2-1 to Colombia. Okay. Gavin.
I'm going 2-0.
2-0. Okay. James.
Pens.
Pens. And who to win on pens?
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Oh. No, not pens.
Come on, James.
2-1 Colombia.
2-1. That's a big difference. I'm going to go with yours. I think Uruguay win on penalties. Now you've said it. Ha ha. Right, there we go. But if Uruguay win, I still get the 1 point. Okay, last one. Millwall Lionesses versus Doncaster Rover Bells. It's the end of the game.
Johnny, you go first on this.
Okay, I think the Lionesses are going to do the Bells here. I think it's going to be 3-1. Wench on the bench.
I have no idea, so I'm going to go for a draw.
What score?
Okay, 2-2.
2-2. Thank you all very much. Gavin.
I'm going 0-1.
0-1. And James?
0-2.
0-2. Wench on the bench. Sarah, you have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for all your tweets and things. And I gather you send James lovely messages about the show, and we appreciate your support. Tell your friends. There goes Sarah, today's wench on the bench. Thank you very much indeed to Gavin Woods, who I felt was superb. James Brown,
I enjoyed
thank
myself.
You were in good form today.
I was all right.
You've had a rest this
week.
week.
It was a superb week.
You had a good week?
Well, I just swam in and out of football. I was just sort of sleeping in front of... Anyway, do you know what? Kick football out of football. Never let the football spoil a good day out of the football. And above all, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
It's good to be wise when you're young.
That was this week's podcast for the warm-up. We're on again tomorrow on Sunday. James, you were about to say...
Will Ferrell was at the World Cup.
Yeah, he was.
Supporting the United States.
Yeah, he was.
He was. He really likes it.
And Robert De Niro crashed a party. He was shooting somewhere in America, shooting a film, and he wanted to watch the USA game. And his PR machine called out on Twitter and whatever, is there anywhere Robert De Niro... And
I don't believe they did that.
This is true.
An APB on Can De Niro watch a match?
This is true. He wanted to arrange for a TV...
When they were giving him directions to it, they're going, just round the corner. Just round there.
I want to watch the game. Game.
Just keep going.
I want to watch the game.
It's the shop, just round there.
And he ended up at a party.
Did he?
With a bunch of strangers, yeah, watching the game.
I happen to be quite regular though. But nice point you made
In his
today,
own
Jason.
house.
In his own house.
What's the dog he's chewing?
Oh God, he's just.
Do
Oh
people
my
ever
God.
confuse you with
Christ.
Chris Donald?
Christ alive.
Because you both had glasses and
on the
curly
quiz
hair,
show.
and you both published magazines.
No, I'm better looking than Chris.
Jason.
You're better looking
Okay,
than Chris.
Jason, Jeff has just. Sorry, Jeff, my dog, is in the studio. He's just eaten this plastic cup, right, which I've just taken out of his mouth. He's just drawn this plastic cup, but you know what? He's given me this look like clever, eh?
Look what I did.
Look what I can do. Oh yes, you can do that 3 hours of radio talking.
I don't even have opposable thumbs, and look what I managed.
But look, I just managed to destroy a plastic cup so that no one will ever be able to use it again. And actually, he's left more. You know, he's left something more permanent than we have. We've just left a lot of memory in the ether. And he's actually left physical evidence of his presence.
We should have just said, actually, do you know what? We missed it. I'm going to just keep talking.
Why?
There were postmen tweeting us on their rounds.
Oh, brilliant. Who really have?
You
Really?
keep talking and I'll look for it on the old
Okay.
Twitter feed.
Do we have any more good Mexican handbags in today? Because we want to encourage this. People
We had a
playing
couple of
Mexican
good ones,
handbags.
didn't we? Yeah.
I got the best. Look, if you want to go, I'm on Johnny. Johnny.
Are you going to join Twitter? Because people
I
keep
am.
asking.
Yeah, I am. Johnny _Vaughan 66, and I'm going to open it up and make it public because at the moment I've got to approve everyone, and it just takes ages. Not that I've got that many on there. I mean, just to do like 10.
It'll go fast if you go public. If you
Yeah,
tell
I'll go
people.
public.
Here's one. LCFC, who's a regular
go on.
contributor to the show.
Did I feel all
Leicester
right
City
for you there?
fan, obviously.
Yeah, Leicester City fan.
Could be
he
Lincoln
says,
City.
Chiellini, a victim of the old Uruguayan toothpick.
Oh, that's great, man.
Well,
That's
there's
great.
loads of stuff on it.
Okay, well, we've got.
If you follow our Twitter feed at TS Warmup,
is it hashtag Mexican handbag?
they've not gone for the hashtag. but-
Okay, well, let's go for hashtag Mexican handbag so we can get them all in and then we can
That's
find
a
out when
good
they crop
idea,
up. Well, I don't know how it works. I haven't done it yet. But I heard someone saying it the other day and they sounded like they knew about Twitter. They go, yeah, you want to put on a hashtag.
It becomes a trend.
Dave Gaddis says, Johnny Vaughan, you have warmed me up nicely on the warm-up so far
Nice,
today.
nice.
That's nice. Matt Trower says, at TS Warm-up, thanks for the Elvis impersonating stuff. Really funny story.
Good. I'm glad he liked it. Was it all right? Because I get a bit self-conscious about doing my musical impersonation.
He goes on to say, sadly, my dad's been diagnosed with cancer this week, but he's really enjoying the show, so he needed a laugh.
Oh, that's good.
That's a lovely
nice.
story.
That's Matt Trower. There's so much of this. Keep talking. I'm going to find this post.
Okay. What was I talking about a second ago? Oh, impersonating Elvis. Yeah.
That was brilliant, by the way.
The important thing, as I say, when you're impersonating Elvis, if you need those three sounds again, is the first one is... The second one you need is... Wow. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Then you have to say the word... Mouse. 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 Then you put a bounce in it, so it's... Mouse. Mouse. Then you learn that. Then you learn the last sound, which is...
When he sings "Don't Be Cruel," he doesn't say "don't." He goes, "Don't be cruel."
Yeah, don't be cruel.
It's just a
and then it's tell your heart it's true.
This
I don't want.
This is brilliant.
Go on. Go on.
So we get quite a lot of postmen listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Whilst they're all, it's a perfect thing to do.
Can I say, Jez, before you go into this, I get a letter from the postman. Elvis singing. He put it in his sack. Do you know how he sings it? No, he sings it. I want a sack. I gave a letter to the postman. I want a sack.
Go on, what was it, James?
Right, okay, so there's a fella called Spencer. His Twitter handle is @PeterMFC.
Nice.
He's tweeted a picture of himself during the show. Could have been, he's a postman, could have been home an hour ago, dragging it out.
Nice.
However, he's now deleted it.
Has he?
So although it's on our feed, I can't retweet it. He obviously realises his missus or his boss.
He's supposed to be at the garden centre.
So if you're listening to this, Peter, what's MFC? What club is that? Middlesbrough Football Club?
Yeah.
Middlesbrough Football Club.
Yeah.
There's loads of these. Dr. Lionel Gentlefist.
God, what's Dr. Lionel got?
Flounder. I can't believe I threw up in front of Dean Wormer.
Face it, you threw up on Dean Wormer.
I saw a great tweet from Dan Kirby. He said, if you want to sneak beer into a game, take a Pringles can with you.
Oh, that's brilliant. Do you know what?
Let's keep
Fat,
going.
drunk and stupid is no to go through life, son. No, James, we can do them all tomorrow. We've got loads more time on another warm-up.
We'll have more.
Yeah, exactly. We'll give them more.
You can challenge me with
I
that.
just keep going. Right, okay, here's more.
No, looking for tomorrow. What's that for tomorrow?
No, but there'll be loads more by tomorrow. The whole week of this stuff. This is just today's.
What for?
Because then they'll listen to the show longer.
I know, but we can comment on yesterday's
Yeah, but this is
feedback.
just today's. We've got 7 days of this.
Okay.
At Peter MFC, who's also the postman. Saturday 11 a.m. used to be great because the pubs opened. Now it's great for the warm-up.
Okay,
you can drink through the night now and go straight into it.
No, okay, James, we're doing it all tomorrow because we need content for tomorrow.
We'll do them on the show. We'll do them on the show.
Yeah, but they don't print them out.
Yeah, but we've got them. You can print them out at home,
I know,
James.
I know, because
I've got a print. So what do you mean I haven't?